Welcome to National Liberty Alliance's weekly call. Today is March 18th, 2024. We broadcast live every Monday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. If you listen live over our radio or another network and you would like to ask a question or make a comment, you can go to nationallibertyalliance.org and click on our weekly call for instructions to join us by phone, app, or browser. If anyone would like to email a question, you can send your questions to questions, it's plural questions, at nationallibertyalliance.org. Also, please support our business partners. You can find their banners on the right-hand side of the website, of which the proceeds go to support NLA's effort to save our republic. Also, please support NLA by donating $5 a month or more. Click on the donation tab, also on the top right-hand side of the website. Okay, we're going to pick up on our scripture reading. We're reading in the Gospel of John. This week, we're in chapter 8. So it's the Gospel of John, chapter 8, read by Alexander Scorby.
Chapter 8. Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives. And early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. The Pharisees therefore said unto him, Thou bearest record of thyself. Thy record is not true. Jesus answered and said unto them, Though I bear record of myself, yet my record is true. For I know whence I came and whither I go, but ye cannot tell whence I come and whither I go. Ye judge after the flesh. I judge no man. And yet if I judge, my judgment is true. For I am not alone, but I and the Father that sent me. It is also written in your law that the testimony of two men is true. I am one that bear witness of myself, and the Father that sent me beareth witness of me. Then said they unto him, Where is thy Father? Jesus answered, Ye neither know me nor my Father. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. These words spake Jesus in the treasury, as he taught in the temple, and no man laid hands on him, for his hour was not yet come. Then said Jesus again unto them, I go my way, and ye shall seek me, and shall die in your sins. Whither I go, ye cannot come. Then said the Jews, Will he kill himself? Because he saith, Whither I go, ye cannot come. And he said unto them, Ye are from beneath, I am from above. Ye are of this world, I am not of this world. I said therefore unto you that ye shall die in your sins. For if ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. Then said they unto him, Who art thou? And Jesus saith unto them, Even the same that I said unto you from the beginning. I have many things to say and to judge of you. But he that sent me is true, and I speak to the world those things which I have heard of him. They understood not that he spake to them of the Father. Then said Jesus unto them, When ye have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall ye know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself. But as my Father hath taught me, I speak these things. And he that sent me is with me. The Father hath not left me alone, for I do always those things that please him. As he spake these words, many believed on him. Then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him, If ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, Ye shall be made free? Jesus answered them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and ye do that which ye have seen with your father. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus saith unto them, If ye were Abraham's children, ye would do the works of Abraham. But now ye seek to kill me, a man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did not Abraham. Ye do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, We be not born of fornication, we have one Father, even God. Jesus said unto them, If God were your Father, ye would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinceth me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do ye not believe me? He that is of God heareth God's words. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of God. Then answered the Jews and said unto him, Say we not well that thou art a Samaritan, and hast a devil? Jesus answered, I have not a devil, but I honor my Father, and ye do dishonor me. And I seek not mine own glory. There is one that seeketh and judgeth. Verily, verily, I say unto you, if a man keep my saying, he shall never see death. Then said the Jews unto him, Now we know that thou hast a devil. Abraham is dead, and the prophets. And thou sayest, If a man keep my saying, he shall never taste of death. Art thou greater than our father Abraham, which is dead, and the prophets are dead? Whom makest thou thyself? Jesus answered, If I honor myself, my honor is nothing. It is my Father that honoreth me, of whom ye say that he is your God. Yet ye have not known him, but I know him. And if I should say, I know him not, I shall be a liar, like unto you. But I know him, and keep his saying. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it, and was glad. Then said the Jews unto him, Thou art not yet 50 years old, and hast thou seen Abraham? Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. Then took they up stones to cast at him, but Jesus hid himself, and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so passed by.
Okay, I'm coming through okay, yes?
Yeah, sure, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you, Jan. All right, I know a lot of people, we have a lot of new people here that are coming because we had Sheriff Dar scheduled for today. We were going to spend a couple of hours with him. Got a lot of good questions for him. But I did speak with John, who set this meeting up with Sheriff Dar, and it turns out, well, we got the news that he had a grandchild today, and he wouldn't be able to make it, so he wants to reschedule for next Monday. So we'll be doing that program with Sheriff Dar next Monday. Meanwhile, what we're going to do, though, there are a couple of questions that people had sent in. If anybody has any questions for Sheriff Dar, they can email them to mail. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a different one. They can email them to questions@nationallibertyalliance.org. Now we've got a lot of questions that did come in, and of course there's a lot of duplicates, so it probably is quite a few anyway. But if anybody else has any other questions, they can send in, and the duplicate's fine, and if not, we'll add them to the program. There are a few questions that we're probably not going to ask him. I'm probably going to go through a few of them right now and try to answer some of these questions. But we'll see. Maybe some of them we will ask. But there's only a few that came in. One of the questions was, why are the sheriff deputies in the court so poorly trained when their job is to uphold and defend the rights of everyone in the courts? And maybe we'll pose that question to him, but the answer to that is ultimately because we've lost control of our courts. We've lost our courts of justice. They're no longer there. The Bill of Rights means nothing in our courts. We've been in the courts here at National Liberty Alliance for about 13 or 14 years now, and we've been struggling through. We have hundreds of cases in there. We filed lots of habeas corpuses. We filed a lot of papers concerning non-judicial foreclosures and various other cases. We also are in the process of preparing to file almost, I guess we'll call it maybe potentially an indictment on the federal judiciary. We'll talk about that in the near future. It's probably not going to be till towards the end of the year. It depends on when devolution plays out. Because to go into the courts right now with anything that is really challenging the federal judiciary, it's just going to be thrown out. They constantly throw people out on what's called Rule 12 particularly. But anyway, the deputies are not trained, and the sheriffs aren't even trained, and the reason why is because we are not trained either. We haven't been taught civics or the Constitution or anything in our schools when we were younger. That's been out of the schools for at least 70 years, at least. And of course that's on purpose. So our sheriffs are as ignorant as we are to the common law, ignorant as we are to civics and to the Constitution. And it's our job to educate them. We do have a program called Join Our Campaign for Constitutional Sheriffs. We wrote a book, Government by Consent, and for the purpose to educate the people, to educate our sheriffs, to bring them around. We've got quite a large chapter in there, particularly focusing in on the sheriffs. We also have a book that we've written. You can download it in PDF form, or you can go up to Amazon and buy it. And it is specifically for sheriffs. You'll find that under books by John Darash underneath Welcome, underneath our Welcome tab. And one of those books, like I said, is the County Sheriff and the Common Law Handbook. Now, again, this book is free to download in PDF form if you'd like to do it that way, but still, some people like that handbook to stick in the pocket. But in any event, you can come under today's Start a Committee of Safety, come down to Handbooks, Videos, and Tools, and you will find that handbook that can be downloaded. There's quite a few handbooks that could be downloaded. So again, we have a lot of new people here, so I think what I'm going to try to do, well, let me finish on a few other questions. We have another question that maybe we can respond to. If the judge tells the sheriff's deputy or the bailiff to hold anyone in contempt of court, the bailiff's deputies, etc., do so without any knowledge of the law. Holding someone in contempt of court without due process of law is a clear violation of the law, nor shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And the answer and the problem is the same thing. The sheriffs are ignorant, the deputies are ignorant, we the people are ignorant. Now, of course, many people here at National Liberty Alliance, and I'm sure there's other places that are teaching things to people, but here at National Liberty Alliance, we teach the common law. We teach how to have government by consent. So we get rid of our ignorance and we take back our nation. Thomas Jefferson said, if the people expect to be ignorant and free, they expect what never was and never will be. So if we remain ignorant, we're just going to continue in the problems we have. A lot of people are waiting for one man to take care of the problem and bring us back to constitutional days again and to save this nation and so on and so forth. And of course, it's going to take a lot more than one man to do it. But it is true that that one man has put a program together with many, many other patriots. The military will be making a move shortly. And he will bring it back, and he will give it back to the people. So what are the people going to do with it? If people can't hold on to it, if they don't know how to have government by consent, the psychopaths eventually, because there's plenty of them out there, will eventually take control, and we'll be right back to where we started from. So we, the people, have to do something. Liberty is not free. It costs. It costs a little bit of your time and maybe a little bit of your money. But your time is the most important thing. To get together on your counties and to form committees of safety, to exercise your unalienable right of government by consent, to take control of all these bureaucrats that are destroying this nation. Let me look at maybe 2 or 3 other questions here. How can a sheriff do his job with foreigners running our courts? That one I didn't understand, so whoever wrote that one, maybe you can rephrase that and send it in. And one more. Well, maybe 2. What do we do about these sheriffs who are not doing their jobs? Very simple, very easy. It's called recall. But you can't recall unless you organize. You can't recall unless you understand how the process works and how to recall someone. We teach that here at National Liberty Alliance. And this is what I just saw recently, and we're going to ask Sheriff Darr on this also what he thinks, but can a sitting governor remove a sheriff? And the answer to that is if the sheriff has been elected by the people and not appointed, because there are places where sheriffs are appointed. They're not sheriffs. They're something else. We don't know what they are. But any sheriff that is elected can't be removed by anybody. There's only 2 ways, or maybe 3 ways, that a sheriff could be removed. He can be impeached. That's one way. He'd have to break the law in order to do that. And of course, there would be impeachment to the state level. He could be removed by the people through recall, or we can just remove him at the next election. Most sheriffs really that don't know the law, we may think that they're not on our side. We may think that they are problematic to us, that they're not protecting us. And to some degree, you're right on that. But the problem is that they don't know the law. And if we can enlighten them to bring them to an understanding of who we are as a people, then, of course, it'll be a whole different story. They need to learn the Constitution. They need to learn civics. They need to understand and learn the common law. They need to understand what due process is and how it goes forward through the courts. That's what they need to know. Until they can know those things, they can't really protect us, at least not in a lawful manner. So that's a problem. Also, another problem is when you get a sheriff that does finally step up, and we've had some of them here or there. We've had a couple in New York. We have, of course, Sheriff Darr, and I understand he's got quite a few other sheriffs that also are starting to make a move to educate themselves and to see once how they should really behave themselves and how they can protect the people and what their real job is, to be law enforcers and not code enforcers. But it's up to the people to bring that information out. So we are going to talk with him about that when we meet up with him. Sheriff Darr also was connected with, to some degree, with the group. I'm trying to think of the name of that group. It's by Sheriff Mack. Does anybody remember the name of the group that Sheriff Mack called? Sheriff something or other? But anyway.
CSPOA, I think it is.
And what does that stand for again?
I don't know. Sheriff's something, Sheriff's Association. It's Sheriff's Association and a few other words, but CSPOA. Yeah. A quick Google will do it. Let me check.
That's constitutional sheriffs, I think it was.
Okay.
In any event, there's quite a few sheriffs involved with that. So we've got a lot of questions. I know Sheriff Darr has some involvement with that. I think Sheriff Darr is doing some other things on his own, particularly with sheriffs within his state. And I think possibly also some sheriffs outside of the state.
The surrounding area remained undamaged thanks to the water deluge system installed.
That's something going.
This system played a critical role in mitigating the intense forces exerted during liftoff.
Nope, that's not me. I think it's Terry.
Yeah, it was Terry. I'm trying to think where I was. Okay, in any event, we're going to try to find out exactly what's in the minds of these sheriffs. What true knowledge do they really have? Do they understand the common law? Do they understand that we, the people, are the lawmakers? It is we, the people, who wrote the Constitution. We, the people, ordained and established that Constitution for the bureaucrat, for the individual who is to represent us. Many people don't even know that we're a republic. They think we're a democracy. I hear that every day, all day long. Just today alone, I've heard it at least 3 or 4 times. Anytime I turn on some news, some talk show or something, I hear people calling us a republic. And a lot of people who are very well educated, very well informed, understand the problems, and they call us a democracy. A democracy, the purpose of a democracy is really to bring forward an oligarchy. And an oligarchy, of course, is to destroy this nation and bring us into subjection. In other words, slavery. And that's where we're heading to. So people have to step and do something. And that's the purpose of National Liberty Alliance. So we've been here for, goodness, I think it's about 14 years. We've been going into the courts about 14 years. We worked through the Committeeman process way back when, found out that they're totally corrupt, and we need to take this nation back. So again, let me just kind of give a brief overview of National Liberty Alliance. And we will be open for questions. Anybody that wants to ask a question, make a comment, or offer a correction, if you're coming in on a phone, you can hit a *6 and a 1, and you can get into the queue. If you're coming in on an app or a browser, there should be a button to enter into the queue. So just click on that button and you'll get in. Right now, I do see there's about 4 or 5 people in the queue right now, so we'll be getting to some questions then. But what is it that National Liberty Alliance does? The mission and purpose of National Liberty Alliance is to provide an online national venue where the people can organize, communicate, and learn the science of government by consent. Because only the people can save the republic. Our heritage is in the law. Our heritage is liberty. As Thomas Jefferson said, and I mentioned it before, if the people expect to be ignorant and free, they expect what never was and never will be. Now, there are 2 power structures. Many people will tell you, you do your job by going and vote. And we know how that works. It doesn't work out too well for us, at least not of us that want to be free and independent individual, which is the majority of Americans, as I'm sure most people realize. So it's not just in voting. Voting is just part of it. And look, we could take them out as quick as we can put them in. That's what the people need to understand. The people need to understand these school boards, for instance. We could visit these school boards. We can have them removed within 10 days. If they refuse to do the will of the people and they continue to demoralize our children, then we can have them removed very quickly. National Liberty Alliance teaches people how to do that. But in order to do that, you have to organize on your local level. You have to build committees of safety. If anybody is interested in this, you can come to our in saving our nation and returning us back to a republic. You can go to our webpage, nationallibertyalliance.org, and anybody that is coming in on an app or a browser, you can be seeing what's going on the desktop. Next time when you come in, you might want to come in with a phone on a app or browser. But under Start a Committee of Safety, all you have to do is click on that and you can follow the breadcrumb trails. But underneath the Start a Committee of Safety, we got the handbooks, videos, and tools. And just to give you a list, these are all downloadable PDFs. Some of these are handbooks that could be ordered on Amazon. And again, as I mentioned, under Welcome tab, you can come down Books by John Darash. You can click on the books, get some information, take a look inside the booklets, or you can download the PDFs and take a look. And then you can directly order it by clicking on the link on our page, which will take you to Amazon, to the page where that particular book is for sale. But again, these are all free. Almost everything on our website is free. We don't charge much for anything because the purpose of National Liberty Alliance is to save the republic. We're not here to make money. We want people to get educated. We want people to build committees of safety, free and independent from any national organization. NLA has no desire to control any of those committees of safety. Our purpose is to provide a venue, a place where people can come and organize, communicate, and get educated. We'll hear as advisors. And we've laid everything out for people to create this program. But on this page here, we have, again, lots of different tools. We've got handbooks, documents, videos, PowerPoints for the county committees of safety meetings. And let me just read out a list of some of the books that you can download. They're handbooks. County Committee of Safety organization structure. We got the Committee of Safety Charter. Now, the charter is basically a form put together in a way. We've got the structure there, and we've got a lot of information in. But all the basic information that all county committees of safety should have in their charter, we put that together. So they're all constructing our committees of safety the same way, because we need to learn to work county to county and state to state. We have this book, this paper called the Charter. We have the County Committee of Safety Committeeman Handbook, which takes back the political process. We have the County Committee of Safety Resolutions. Again, they're just the basic structure, something we should all put together, and then we need to add to accordingly. We have the Committee of Safety Vow. We have the Common Law Handbook. We have the Elected Officials Handbook. And if we're going to, one of the things we will do is select the individuals we want to put in office. And in order to do that, we want these people to be educated. We're not interested in politicians. We're interested in statesmen. And we will take them out as quick as we put them in. Again, we will teach you how to do that. We have, the Elected Officials Handbook, which, again, they need to be reading and knowing. As a matter of fact, we're also going to require them to take certain courses. We have quite a few courses here at National Liberty Alliance. Quite a few of them are free. A couple of them you have to be Premier members to get into, and a Premier member is someone given $5 a month or more. We also teach a law class so people can learn how to access the courts, take care of their own business. It's called Court Access in the Common Law. We wrote a book on this, Court Access in the Common Law. It's a 550-page book, 8.5 by 11 hardcover book. Again, you can find it underneath Welcome Tabs, Books by John DeRash, and you'll be sent up to Amazon to purchase it. We give you a little inside view of it, and we also give you a lot of information what the book is curtailed of. We also have the book Government by Consent, 550-page book, again also 8.5 by 11 hardcover, and both of those books together will teach people how to take their nation back, how to control their own lives in the courts, how to protect themselves and defend themselves. We have the Grand Jury Handbook, a very powerful book. It frees the jury that's coming in to make a decision as far as the grand jury, whether they're going to indict or not. And through that, they'll learn how to be free and independent and the powers that they actually have. The power of nullification. We, the people, what people don't realize, and they need to understand, is we, the people, are the lawmakers. That's who we are. We, the people, ordained and established the Constitution for them. And so that's the law that we wrote. We gave them certain powers and certain authorities, and they're not to go outside those powers. But I would say probably 90%, and that might be low, 90% of what they do is unconstitutional. They get away with it because we, the people, are ignorant. I speak to myself first, but right now, today, I'm no longer ignorant, and the people involved with National Liberty Alliance are no longer ignorant, or at least they're getting rid of their ignorance through education. We have independent nominating petitions and how we can walk petitions to get people into office. How do people put people into office? How to take them out of office. We have a handbook on the militia codes, rules, and resolutions. Everyone in a committee of safety, matter of fact, everyone within your state belongs to the militia. As a matter of fact, the New York State Constitution makes that very clear, that it is the duty of every individual of the state to protect the borders of New York State when called for. So we are all part of that militia. So as the Committee of Safety grows and we put ourselves under, to some degree, under the sheriff as far as the authority, as far as the law is concerned, then at that point, and we're going to be talking to Sheriff Dar about this also. He's really running his county in a very powerful and constitutional way. And we need all of our sheriffs to do the same thing. But they're not going to be able to do it unless you teach them, unless you do something about it. Because it's up to you to save America. One man can't do it. Yeah, again, like I said, he can move the military. They can come out and they can do all kinds of things. But if we the people, but then there'll be a power void. And if we don't take control of ourselves, of our nation, from our own perspectives within our own counties, all politics is local. We have representatives that represent us, whether we're in a town, a city, a village, we're in a county. We have county representatives, we have state representatives, we have national representatives. We have, of course, the president, and it's up to us to put these people, proper people, in office, and to take these people out of office when they don't obey the law, when they violate their oaths. We teach people how to demand people's oaths and their bonds, and how to take them out of office at the same time. We have a Petit jury handbook. Again, frees the people, gives them the power that they need to understand. We have a questionnaire concerning as far as going into the courts for a Petit jury or a grand jury. Right now, the questionnaires that you'll find, at least on a federal level, stacks the juries. The people have no clue on what's really going on. Let me say this again. We've been in the courts for a long time. We've been in the federal courts mostly. We've been in state courts, county court, state courts, county courts too. We've been in town courts, city courts, village courts, and it's all the same thing. The people don't know. I'm here to tell you, and there's many other people here will tell you the same thing. Your Bill of Rights is not upheld in these courts. Courts of justice have been shut down. In 1938, the Rules Enabling Act gave the power to the 1934 Rules Enabling Act gave the power to the federal judiciary to write their own rules, and they turned their rules into law. And in 1938, they came into being. So at least since 1938, what they did is they combined law and equity, which is the only powers we gave them. Equity is legislative law under American jurisprudence, which has to comply with common law. And law is the other side, which is common law. Those are the only two jurisdictional powers we gave them. So, of course, there is law of the sea and so on. But as far as on the land, law of the land, equity, which applies only towards individuals who are working for government agencies or are involved in commercial activities. Has nothing to do with you or me. And a lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people don't realize that the Constitution has been gone. Rule 2 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure abrogated the common law. They combined law and equity and call it now civil law. We're now being judged by judges. And that's been going on for quite a few times, and people just willingly go right to jail because some judge said you got to go to jail. They don't have the power or the authority to do that. Only the people have that power. Only the people have that authority. We have a recall petition, sample of that. We have a Sheriff's Common Law Handbook. We have Village Independent Designating Petitions. We have lots of tools and information, PowerPoints. We lay out exactly how people can run their first seminar, which is when you call the people together the first time to introduce them to Committee of Safety, and hopefully they join up. You want to invite people not only from your own area, but even counties next door, if they'll come, and then you can help them to get a Committee of Safety going there. So we have all the information you need. We have it in PowerPoints. We have it in video PowerPoints. So people feel comfortable to speak it out. They can speak it out. There are certain videos that we have laid out that people watch for educational purposes during that PowerPoint. So it's a lot of information. As a matter of fact, anybody who wants to see an example of that, they can go to our welcome page on the front of the page, and they can come down and they can click on, let's see, I think it's Power of the Grand, no, that's not it. Okay, I think this is it here. This is the seminar on our front page, NLA Plan to Save Our Republic. It was recorded December 18, 2021. And this is pretty much the same seminar that you would run. It would be about 3 to 4 hours long on a Saturday, which we suggest to do it on a Saturday, in your area in order to introduce people to the Committee of Safety process. So there are two power structures in America, political and judicial. We have to take them both back. And the judicial powers we can take them back to what's called jury administrators. Jury administrators orientate and fully inform both grand and petit juries. We need 5 people in every county. This is a paid position, full-time job. We want to take it away from the powers that be, from the bureaucrats, from the bar attorneys, from the judges. Common law was always about the people. The people called the grand jury. The sheriff would call the grand jury through the people, and the people would gather themselves together, and they'd come together to hear whether they're going to indict or not on a certain situation, whatever that might be. So that is something we need to take back. So we need 5 people. We need one paralegal and 4 other individuals. All 5 of them would be called jury administrators. We train people for that. We have courses for that, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So we train people how to become jury administrators, how to take control within their county, and then they have to come to the people in order to get an indictment. But they'll come to a people that are free and independent, a people that is not a stacked jury, a people that is watched and cared for by the people themselves. So that's how we will take back our courts. We do plan on doing kind of an indictment. We're not sure exactly how we're going to approach this yet. Papers are pretty much written. Got to go back through them. We'll post them soon. People can read on them, and then hopefully get involved with this to take back our federal courts. Once we take back our federal courts, then we take back all courts throughout the nations, because anytime they deny due process or do anything of that sort, we could take it right up to the federal court for cause and force them to be obedient to the law. It'll happen very quickly, very, very quickly. The other side of the things, of course, is the political. We have to have free and independent county committees of safety in all 3,100 plus counties. We have to end political parties. They have got to go. There is no place for a political party in a republic. A political party in a republic is destructive. We've seen what it's done. They have no need to discuss anything. They just need to obey the laws we gave them. And that's clearly written out in the Constitution. We gave the legislators 18 powers, and nothing more than the 18 powers. We're very specific on what they can do and what they can write legislative law about. And it's ultimately about controlling different government agencies and their agents, and of course commercial activities. So there's no need for them to get involved with political parties. Political parties only bring back strife and debate and is destructive. George Washington, in his address when he left, his farewell address when he left his office, spoke about political parties and the destructiveness of political parties, and that they would be the fall of this nation, the destruction of this nation. That's what George Washington thought, and he told us to get away from it. Our founding fathers, of course, all agreed with that. Nowhere in the Federalist Papers do you read about political parties, nor do you read anything about a democracy. We are not a democracy. Just because we choose people by popular vote doesn't make us a democracy. A democracy is when people choose people for their representatives, and then they go and discuss anything they want. Okay, that's what a democracy is. And they claim that they're doing what the people want, and of course that's a pack of lies. Our founding fathers want no part of that. If you read Federalist number 10, our founding fathers are very clear about that. So democracies is something we don't want. George Washington said, once we have parties, we're going to fall apart. And already we're having problems back then. He spoke about them. Thomas Jefferson, on the other hand, thought that it's going to be the courts that's going to be our demise. And guess what? They were both right. And they all agreed on these things. So the people need to understand what due process is, how it works. They need to understand how to take back their courts. They need to understand how to take back their political process. And if we fail to do that, then again, we're only going to be back there again. I'm sure most of the people coming here today are familiar with devolution and what's going on behind the scenes, so to speak, and that things are ready to explode. And we realize that a lot of things that we see happening is really they're being forced to be pushed out into the forefront, and we're starting to see that they are tyrants, that these people that are running our government are tyrants. And we're going to be going through some really hard times this year. Probably going to be some things going on in the streets. We've got literally millions of terrorists in this country. They're populating our cities, and these people, are being fed by the very same people that we expect to run our country. They paid for all this. They're housing all these people. They're feeding all these people, and they're going to arm all these people. The White House, of course, are aware of this. There are plans in play, but it's going to hit the streets, and it's going to hit it hard. And we should be praying about this and be prepared to just protect our own. Nobody should hit the streets to do anything. The military will take care of that. We don't have to get involved with that. But we may have to protect our own homes. We're also going to see a collapse. I did hear some news that the collapse may not be as bad as we might think, because Trump has already set up another economy alongside this economy as far as the money structure is concerned. To go back to gold and silver, Trump has already seized the gold back from Rome and various other places, the Philippines and so on. So the gold is back, and gold will kill the Fed. The Fed will go away. Income tax will go away. Restitution for all the people, not only in the United States, but the entire world, will happen. All of these things that these insane people have been stealing from us for hundreds of years, since even before the beginning of our nation, even when we were as colonies, they've been stealing from us. And they've been made very rich of it. They control more than 90%. I think 90% is probably a low number. They control 90% of the economy of the world. They own the values, different things, the gold, the silver, the stocks, the big corporations, the conglomerates. They own it all. Well, when we take them and put them in jail or at the end of the short rope, whatever it is that the people decide, each person needs to be tried. But whatever happens to them, as Trump said on numerous occasions, when a diamond thief steals diamonds and he gets caught, he's got to give the diamonds back. Well, all this belongs back to the people, and it's not just the people of the United States of America. We may have the lion's share of it, but all the people of the world have been injured. They've been bringing us into wars for quite some time. They've been causing all kinds of havoc and problems, and they've been destroying life. So we all have been injured. We're all casualties of war, and there will be compensation. Trump says you're going to not believe how fast he's going to be able to bring things back up, and that's just by bringing gold and silver, taking the money away from these crazies and give it back to the people, and start to rebuild roads and putting the monies back into places that really take care of the people. So we have to take back the political structure. We have to take back the judicial structure. Only the people can save America. So people need to get together in their counties. Again, we'll teach people. We have handbooks to show you step by step exactly what needs to be done, how to do it, step by step, and we're here to advise. We're here every Monday. We've been here for over 13, 14 years, 15 years maybe, because we've been doing this with the committeeman before. Now, the committeemen that are existing today, they're statutory committeemen. The whole purpose of the Bar Association, they came into America back in 1750 while we were colonies yet, for the purpose to destroy our judicial process. And as time went on, of course, to destroy our political process. And it was the bar attorneys. They're the minions of the New World Order. They are the culprit of all of our woes. They have created this entire system from everything, no matter what it is. Lawyers control it all. Now, they don't really realize it, at least not most of them don't. I'm sure a lot of the upper levels might, but they've been brainwashed. First of all, they're gotten when they're very young. They come out of school, 18 years old or whatever. They go into college. They study to be a lawyer. They're told what they're told is to be the truth, so they're brainwashed. But when they come out, they have to work with other lawyers in order to really learn the real steps on how the due process works within the courts. So they're totally controlled, and they believe that common law has been abrogated. Think about that. Just think about that. Lawyers believe that the common law has been abrogated in the United States of America. That means there is no Constitution, there is no Bill of Rights, and there is no Declaration of Independence, which is the foundation of our law. That doesn't exist no more. Of course, in our minds it exists. The paper is still there. That damn paper, as Bush says and calls it, that damn paper constantly gets in their way. And that's the only thing that has kept us, it's the only thing that has kept the world from falling totally into their hands. And it's going to be their demise also. But anyway, we the people have to know this. We have to understand this. We have to take control. Now, the committeemen, again, they statutarized them. The committeemen were never to be statutarized. The true committeeman was the Committee of Safety. All of our founding fathers belonged to committees of safety. It was the committees of safety which from all of the colonies came together in order to form and decide on the First Continental Congress. It was the Committee of Safety that set forth the Second Continental Congress. It was the Committee of Safety that brought forth the idea of bringing the Declaration of Independence into play and separating ourselves from England, from Britain. It was the Committee of Safety that ran the war, the Revolutionary War. It was the Committee of Safety who came together to debate the Constitution and to bring it together in the Bill of Rights. It was the Committee of Safety that has controlled our government in the beginning. The purpose of the Committee of Safety was to control our government, and it was we, the people, who are to do that. But the people have lost that knowledge. National Liberty Alliance has found that knowledge and is teaching that knowledge. We have to join our committees of safety to take this nation back. There is absolutely no other way. I challenge anyone to show me another way where this country can be taken back. It's not possible anyway. Only the people can save the republic. So that's what we have to do. We have to get educated. So again, we have to end the bar. We have to end, and the bar is a simple one. As a matter of fact, anybody who knows about the original 13th Amendment, and that was in the days of our founding fathers, they're the ones that came up with the 13th Amendment, which barred the bar from having any office of trust. And anyone that did take hold of the bar as an office of trust ceased to be a citizen of the United States. That's how strong they felt about bar attorneys. Bar attorneys is all about civil law. It's about Justinian law, which is all Babylonian law, Roman law. They'll even tell you, I know many lawyers who tell me we're under Roman law. They believe it. That's Babylonian law, the law of the city, the law of municipality, the law to control the slaves, to keep them in line, and to just rob them on a daily basis of anything that they've got. That's where we're at. We need to take it back, and we can't afford to fall back. Our Declaration of Independence is actually a covenant with God. We ask that we be under the laws of God, the laws of nature and of nature's God, and we asked for God's blessing in the Declaration of Independence. That makes it a covenant with God, and no one can break that but God himself. Now, in our Constitution, as a matter of fact, in the preamble, there are 6 directives that we've given to our people who are in our government, who we have elected. And one of them, of course, is to form a more perfect union. At the time, the union was not yet fully formed, and we were operating as a union during the Revolution, and as we were putting the Constitution together. And the purpose of it was to form a more perfect union, and that's what it did. And to establish justice. We've lost justice. There is no justice in the courts at all, none. To ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare. And the 6th one is the most important one, to secure the blessings of liberty. Liberty is a blessing, and blessings come from God. They're unalienable rights. They can't be bought or sold. They can't be taken away. People need to understand these things in order to take back their country, their nation. You need to learn the civics. You need to learn the Constitution. You need to learn the common law. You need to understand and learn due process and how it works. And that's what we teach here. I'm going to bring this to an end in a few minutes. I mean, I've got lots and lots to share. We've got all kinds of books. We've got articles. We've got all kinds of education. We've got Supreme Court cases that are landmark cases. We've got hundreds of cases that we've written. All of them, every case we wrote is an education in itself. You can find them under federal court cases on the top bar on the right-hand side of the top, on the bar on the top of our website. In our education, we have a foundation study, free. We have a Constitution 101 study, free. The only thing you have to do is become a member, and then you can sign up and take the course. All but the first course, the foundation study is not doesn't have any tests in it, but all these other courses have tests. They're multiple choice. It's pretty simple, but it proves the fact that you've taken the course, because these courses are a requirement for certain people. Anybody who wants to be working as an administrator for the juries, they have to take all of our courses. But everyone else should be taking a lot of these courses, if not all of them. So we have the foundation study, free. Constitution 101 study, free. We have American history, articles and essays. We have a civics course, that's free. We have a militia course, that's free. We have also government by consent course. Now that course you have to be a premium member. And a premium member is someone giving $5 a month or more. If someone is really that bad off and they can't afford $5 a month, we'll let them in for free. Just let Jan know, Jan at nationalliberyalliance.org, and he'll let you in for free. You'll just flip the button. So that course, we request that people be that. We have a jury administrators course. Again, you got to be premium member for that. And we offer a 90-hour law course, far superior to any course you could learn in any bar school. We not only teach you what their rules are all about and what the statutes are all about, we teach you what the common law is and what that's all about. It's court access and the common law. We teach you how to write papers and come in under the common law, and all this to bring us back to where we belong. That course we actually charge for. It's the only course that we do charge for. It's $125, and again, it's a 90-hour course, and it's a very comprehensive course on how the court system works, how it should work, how a common law republic works, our heritage, and how due process works. And of course, we went through all those handbooks. We also have a higher education. We have lots of different books. We have books that you can both read and listen to at the same time, the audio books. For instance, we got the 5,000-Year Leap up there on our website. We got books by Newton, Spinoza, Boyd, Hobbes, Hume, House, Locke, Butler, Euclid. We have the Federalist Papers. In the Federalist Papers, we have an audio and written, so you can read along with them. We have the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist Papers. And a lot more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You'll find a lot of our education under education starts here. And again, you'll get as much as education as you need or you want. But there are certain things that we the people must know. We must take the Constitutional course. We must take the Civics course. Those are the two most important courses that people need to take. And that's the basic understanding. And to go further than that, there are certain people within the county should go through the law course. You should have at least one or two people in your county committee of safety that know the law and understand the process and the procedure, how to write papers, how to put the papers together in order to remove these people from these town boards, these village boards, the city boards, from the school boards. Within 10 days, you can remove them. So we teach people the process, and someone needs to write the papers. And until someone can write the papers for you, we'll do what we can on the national end. We're here for the sole purpose of advising, giving people advice, helping people with paperwork for their committees of safety, and just leading them along with anything we can help them. Because if we the people don't organize and take this nation back, it's going to be in someone else's hands. Let's see if there's anything else I want to jump onto before we open for Q&A. Right, I guess that's it. There is a lot to learn, and we have to learn it. We have to make sure our children learn it. We have to take our schools back. And when we take our schools back, our children need to get a full education. You know, we can go back some years where education only went 8th grade, and that 8th grade was more superior than a high school education. It was close to a college education. 8 grades close to a college education. And that's possible for any child if you have a proper education and if it is portrayed in the correct way. We have to have people who can really educate, who are educators, and are not trying to socially change the system, our life as a people. But in any event, our children, by the time they come out of school, by the time they come out of, the 12th grade, they should have almost a college education easily. They should know how to drive. They should learn to drive in school. They should learn how to handle a weapon in school. It used to be that way, and it wasn't made. I know Brent, for those who know Brent, he had mentioned when he was a kid, they taught all these things in school. So we need to teach our children how to drive a car. We need to teach our children how to handle a weapon. We need to teach our children how the court system works. They need to be able to go into the court themselves and be there and represent themselves, take care of their own business. We need to teach the people, our children, that they owe back to society, that they should volunteer for the country for some period of time, for a couple of years, join the armed forces or something, the National Reserve or whatever. We need to teach our children it is their duty to get involved with a county committee of safety, to spend 2 or 3 hours a week. That's all it takes. It's a couple hours a week. You meet once a month for a couple of hours. You might have a little work to do because you're going to form subcommittees, and those subcommittees do work. So you may have a couple hours a month to work there. So 4 or 5 hours a month putting into the Committee of Safety in order to take the nation back. That's the cost of liberty. And if you don't want to pay that price, then we don't deserve liberty. Liberty is not free. It will not protect itself. Only the people can do that. So that's what we the people need to be doing. We need to teach our children. Unfortunately, we don't know ourselves how to do these things. So we have to spend time to learn. And again, come on National Liberty Alliance, start taking these courses whatever time you have. You have a couple hours here, a couple hours there. Learn, find out what's going on, and organize your committees of safety. Now we have one more thing I want to cover, and we'll probably cover this again next week in the beginning when the Sheriff Doc comes on, and that is clicking on the Sheriff's page. Underneath the Sheriff tab here, you come down to Join Our Campaign for Constitutional Sheriffs. Now this tab here is for sheriffs. And all we the people should know what's on this tab also. But we put this tab here particularly for sheriffs when they come to this website. But by joining our campaign for constitutional sheriffs, it's all about buying a book for your sheriff. which is the book Government by Consent. Sheriff Brad Rogers said, "A sheriff can and should interpose for his citizens against an overreaching federal, state, or local government." We're going to hear Sheriff Dar talk about this next week, and he's going to tell you what he has done in his county. I wish he was my sheriff. NLA is working with the sheriffs to organize and educate all county sheriffs led by Sheriff Dar in order to save our republic. You can buy your sheriff the book Government by Consent and include the 2 letters below, one from Sheriff Barr and one from National Liberty Alliance. You can also include a letter from your county committee of safety if you'd like to, or just yourself. But you can buy the book here by clicking that link. You can download Sheriff Dar Leaf's endorsement letter, and you can also download NLA's letter, which introduces them to the book. And again, this book is $39.95. I made it as affordable as possible. This book here, being a law book to begin with, I'm sorry, that's the right one, Government by Consent. This being a law book, both of them being law books ultimately, and being a hardcover book, maxed out at 550 pages. And I'm very impressed by the work they did on this book, by the way. They really make a nice book. It's nice and solid. It's durable. And the reason why I went with hardcover is because it becomes a reference book, and you're going to use it a lot. And if you use it a lot, the paperbacks, they fall apart very quickly. This is really, really a powerful, strong binder on this book. But in any event, this book is, again, $39.95. Books of this type, $100, $80, even the $200. People charge a lot of money for these kind of books of law and this type of a subject. But we made it as affordable as possible because we're here to save the nation. It also, whatever comes in from this and everything that comes in off this website at this point is going in to National Liberty Alliance to do the work we're doing, to file the papers we're doing, to keep the lights on, so to speak, and get things going. Now, you could look into this book. If you clicked on, let's say, Government by Consent, which is the one we want you to buy for the sheriff, okay, you get the information, click on here to buy your sheriff the book, get the 2 letters, put it in, and you can click, we also have a Kindle on this. I don't know how well that turned out, but we have a Kindle on it. We have a table of contents. So these are the things that we covered in this book. We've covered a lot of information in this book. And this will fully inform any individual. This book alone will give you all the knowledge you need in order to understand who we are as a people. It's the other book that you would need to understand due process because that's a totally different focus. Court access in the common law. And again, we have a course on that. But to give you an example, court access in the common law, we recorded all of these videos, the video course. We recorded it. It'll be there indefinitely. Anybody who signs up for this course will have access to it indefinitely. If you'd like, you can download everything off of it. It doesn't matter. You can keep it on your computer, but it'll always be here. The table of contents for the court access course is very, very really a lot of things, very comprehensive. Okay, we get the introduction, which is, and then we have chapter 1, the essentials, grand jury, formatting, law dictionaries. I'm not going to read through all this. It's quite a long list of things. Lots of information, lots of papers, lots of forms, lots of instructions, memorandums of law, lots of memorandums of law. We have cases, example cases, different forms and everything. We have jurisdictional challenge, how to write a habeas corpus, instructions on that, writs of rights and demands of we the people, the power and the authority of we the people, the power of our rights. When you go into court until the jury is settled, you are the sovereign of that court, not the judge. The judge has no power or authority to say anything. He's just a traffic cop, keeps things moving along. That's about it. The sovereign of the court controls his court until the jury is seated. And then the jury is the king's bench. And, of course, God, us being under God's law, that's what common law is, and that's what the Declaration of Independence laid out for us, that we're under the laws of nature and of nature's God. And so everything, of course, in law that falls under God's law. Okay, that's what natural law is. So again, forms of instructions. We also have some court cases that IRS case, and you can write different information on that. IRS is going to be gone soon anyway. But anyway, that's up there. We have the traffic court. We have a case for that, and we have a few other cases up here that are examples. And again, a lot of examples under our federal court cases. We have cases. We have grand jury investigations. We formed the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. That's how we entered into the courts. Every single state has formed a unified state common law grand jury, and then they all came together and united under what we call the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. And the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury is the only active grand jury that we've got going right now. None of the state grand juries, they came together in order to form the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. Therefore, they can't say to us, oh, you're just a small group in some state, in a corner of some state, and that's it. No, we are out of every county across America. We have over 11,000 members at this point. We're building committees of safety. I forget the number we have. I think the last time I looked, it was about 171 committees of safety in process. We need 1,170 committees of safety in process. It's up to you to do it. It starts with one person. Two people come together. Next thing you know, you got 3, 4, 5, maybe half a dozen people. Some people may wait a little longer to get a few more, but once you've got a half a dozen people, then you can form your first meeting, introduce it to the people within your county and the counties next door, come together, you 20, 30 people, and then you start doing business. And we'll show you how to grow that group. If you get 20 people, we will show you how to grow that 20 people into 100 or 200 people within a year. And it's all about really taking our schools back. That's how you'll grow very quickly, because you'll pull a lot of people in, a lot of parents who are frustrated and angry. And when they become aware of this situation and what we're doing and how we're going in to take the school back and we're trying to put it into their hands, the education of their children into their hands, they will come. And when they come and see the power and the authority working with the sheriff and bringing the necessary paperwork to take these people right off their seats, right then and there, 10 days out of office, and seize control of those seats and take control of those positions until the next election comes up and put someone else in there, or if you want to stay in there, go for the election to be in there, whatever it is you want to do. But again, only the people can save the republic. Trump cannot do it. He can bring it and hand it to us, and I believe that's going to happen. By the time this year is out, I do believe that that's going to happen. But it's up to you to keep it. As it was Benjamin Franklin when it was asked what kind of a government we have, and I'll say the same answer he had to that woman. I think it was a woman. In any event, the same answer he had, and I'll tell you what it is. It's a republic if you can keep it, but you can't keep it if you remain ignorant. You can't keep it unless you step up and do something about it. You have to do something to save this nation. Otherwise, you give it up. You lose your liberty. Your children become slaves. And that's that. So, all right.
Hey, John.
Yeah,
Hello.
go ahead.
I just want to do a real quick thing to put things in perspective as far as the sheriff goes and Dar Leaf in particular. Look, we are in World War III right now, whether you know it or not. The bullets aren't flying, but the bullets are flying. They're the political and, this asymmetrical war that we're playing here with these illegal aliens and all this other stuff going down. This is World War III, and we have to win it. We can't lose it. Now, Dar's in the fight, and we're collaborating with him, and I got this tape where Michael Jaco, the Navy SEAL, and Juan O'Savin are doing an interview where they talk about, Tina Peters. She was the county clerk that got evidence of fraud on the vote, and she took pictures of the machine as she was supposed to, because that's her job, to preserve that vote in the national election for 2 years, and they arrested her and put her in jail for doing her job. But that's another story completely. But in the midst of that, Dar has, she had people come to her telling her, whistleblowers telling her, look, we're from this foreign country or that foreign country. They were our allies. And I was tasked with going into your machine and pulling stuff out, changing it, and sending it back. That's treason. That's an act of war. And they kept saying, no, there's no, Trump is crazy. It's been debunked and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? It hasn't been debunked, and it's just coming out now. And these cases are going up to the Supreme Court. I don't know. I think, they're going to the Supreme Court because that's the method it should happen. But I think you were going to end up with a military tribunal because look at all this China money and George Soros and stuff. They have compromised so many judges and so many prosecutors. The system cannot fix itself. It really can't. You have to do these tribunals. They're quicker. There's no baloney. And you're dealing with treason. You're dealing with literal murder is what it ends up being. So look at, Biden's not the real president. They cheated. We could prove it. So that whole Ukraine war that he did, which I don't believe would have been in if Trump was in office, everybody that died in there, that's a murder. Those are murders on those people. They committed murder and they committed treason. But I want to share this. I'll just share the screen, if you don't mind, John, and run this video. It's about 5 minutes, and listen to what's going on with Sheriff Dar, and to put you in perspective to what this war is like right under your nose. Most people don't even know it's going on, and that's our job to. Let's see.
Good. If you start sharing, my screen will disappear. Yours should pop up.
Yeah, I have to figure out what to share. Well,
don't take it too long on it because we do have a lot of people in the queue.
No, it won't be long at all. It's pretty quick. Treason is quick. Let me see here. Computer sound. I just want to make sure I get everything. Okay, I think I got it. I'm not used to sharing this.
Looks like you took it back.
Okay, now there should be.
Yeah, hit the screen, full screen on that if you can. On lump. There you go.
Okay, you see that now?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, here it goes. Let me know that you can hear this.
Sheriff is part of constitutional sheriffs groups across the country doing an investigation. And he's
talking about Dar now. I started a little bit early, but he's part of a constitutional sheriff's group across the nation. This is what we're pushing. So pay attention now.
Essentially through the GOP there. This sheriff is part of the constitutional sheriffs groups across the country doing an investigation. And he's uncovered and has people who've gone on the record, given statements, and shown their communications history with these Serbian nationals outside of the U.S., based outside the U.S., encamped outside the U.S., who were communicating with elections people in Michigan so that they could vote in Michigan back in 2020. He's doing this investigation, and the AG in Michigan is part of this crowd or somehow affiliated with this crowd that doesn't want to get to justice because it'll expose some problem children there in Michigan. So the AG has tried to come in and capture the records, find out exactly what they got. So they know what they're dealing with, looking at this election interference. And they've got a full-on all-out assault, because if you prove from Michigan that the vote inside the state was cooked from outside of the United States, that's an act of war. And if you have people inside the state, including moneyed people, who were getting assistance to make sure that certain people got into office, That's a treasonous, traitorous act. So this sheriff is saying that he has the legal authority. He is the highest authority in his county to do these investigations, and that even other state agencies, including the AG, and federal agencies do not have the same level of authority that he does as a constitutional sheriff. And of the 3,000 sheriffs in the country right now, about 300 have become constitutional sheriffs, part of that group, claiming constitutional authority as the highest law enforcement person in the county. And so he's not providing his evidence to the AG or to the feds, what he's found for the time being, because it's an ongoing investigation. And his concern is that if he gives that information out, lets them know what he's got, they're going to go out and intimidate those witnesses or start cooking it or whatever, and he's building a case to go to court right there in his county against these state actors who participated in flipping the vote in Michigan. And more importantly for us out across the country, if the mechanism was used to cook the vote in his county, it wouldn't make sense for these global players to only do it in one little county in Michigan. They're doing it in one place, they're doing it in 100. They're doing it in even more probably all across the country. And then the other side of this is the manipulation of the vote, not just 2020, but 2022 and some of the primaries right now. It's not just players from Serbian nationals, if you will. There are players from other parts of the world that are involved in similar things, and there's a coordination that's occurred and a collusion between people working in three-letter agencies inside the United States and colluding with other intelligence agencies outside the United States, other groups, primarily out of NATO countries, but a couple of other also. So that by the time this all gets sifted out, you're going to see that it's like an octopus. There's multiple locations where the activity was coordinated to cook the vote and then come back into the U.S., but there's a common route back into the U.S. for the information and then dissemination that was highly secure. And when you understand how that was done and why it was done there, a whole bunch of pieces will all fall in place. I don't take anyone out of sales for some people involved who have done amazing work to get it to that point. I just want to tell you that, it's way more developed even than you'll know by the end of the week. It's something that will take probably realistically 90 to 120 days to fully kind of be out as far as the current people involved want it to be. And it'll take time for the American people and people around the world to process what they're about to hear. They're going to have to really think about this. Because think of this, Michael. We're on the brink of nuclear war right now in Central Europe. You and I have talked about this a number of times. How many hundreds of thousands of people have died in Ukraine alone since this administration took power in Washington, D.C. And who's behind that? Putin, when he talked to Tucker several weeks back, Putin said that Biden isn't running Washington, D.C. Biden's not running America. And Tucker says, well, who is? Of course, we commonly talk about how it's, well, it's Obama. King Hussein of Jordan was in Washington, D.C. here a few weeks back. And Biden brings him out to the podium and introduces him. And he says, oh, and right there, Barry's on that monitor right there, up there. He's watching us on that camera. And he points over to the right of the podium. King Hussein looks over. Well, there's the television, or the video monitor. So Barry's watching this whole thing.
So anyway, You get the picture. This is a war. It's going on right now under our noses. Dar is thick into it, as are their other sheriffs. And the only way we're going to win this is if they get the power of the people behind them. Look, they'll take Dar out and shoot him and heart attack him or whatever else they have to do to shut him up and everybody else. Tina Peters, they kidnapped her husband, they tortured him, they killed him, put him in a nursing home across the country. Really horrible stuff that they've done to her. And it's not over. We're right in the thick of it, and we need to stick together. We need to educate ourselves and move into this action, engage. And this is war. There's no bullets flying yet, but there will be when these so many million illegal aliens get activated. What are we going to do? Did I stop screen sharing? I'm trying to.
Just now, yeah. Hey, Gerard, how about this? When it comes time for Sheriff Dar to go to court, maybe it'd be a good idea for you and John to counsel his counsel. And if that can't be done, then maybe John needs to go to Michigan. And I'm sorry to put that on you, John, but
well, I'll talk with him about it. And but you know who might be better than me going is
Brett.
Brent, and Brent is very close with him and been working with him, and he'd be the choice, really. He understands the common law far better than I do. I mean, I've been educated quite a bit through my research, but it was his book by Brent Winters, Excellence of the Common Law, that my eyes are really open to an understanding. But yeah, I'd go out there too.
Well, look,
yeah,
we all be part of that team. Because, you know, we need numbers. We can't have them targeting one person. Brent has had some pretty hairy stuff in federal court. He doesn't like it there. You know?
It might be better for me to go because I'm not a bar attorney.
Right.
Yeah. And
I'm just saying, we could be on the team. They don't have to know who's doing what.
That's true.
And we'll discuss this a little later. It's getting late. We have people in the queue, and if necessary, we'll stay late to get to everybody.
I just thought it was important to put this in perspective, to let people know that we're not playing around here. This is serious. This is for all the nuts.
Oh, by the way, yeah, you're right, Gerard. By the way, John, remember I mentioned, I think it was last week, that even though Trump uses the word democracy, I was saying that I think he uses it to basically not confuse the people and to use it because it's a mainstream way of addressing our government. I was reading in Derek Johnson's Rattletrap and Telegram, his Rattletrap channel. He says he uses the word that I was right on the one hand that he does know that we're not a democracy, but I was wrong about the way he was using it. According to Derek Johnson, he's using it to highlight it so that the people will see democracy, 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 and will finally realize that we're not a democracy. So that's why he says he's using it, and I yield.
Okay.
What about sending 50 or 100 of the NLA members into the court with Dar?
Oh, definitely. We'll get as many people as possible.
Nice.
We'll see what he wants to do. You know, we'll have to talk with him, and I'm sure the leader of that whole thing will be Brent. And so, however they want to form it, and whatever they'd want us to do, and however we can help.
I mean, he's going to try to keep this in the state court, I would hope.
Well, I don't know. I think it's going to get out of the state court, but we'll see what happens. I really don't know.
Oh, you're right, because it's treason and it's on a national level. So.
Right now, we have only a half hour left, which we're going to stay open later in order to get to all the people. So let's get to the questions that people have. And again, we're only going to take one question per person. If anybody has a second question, they can, get back into the queue after we finish and move to the next person. We'll take another follow-up question. We'll try to stay away from anything that's going to get us into long discussions on law. We often have conversations on law, but as far as getting into cases and things like that, we don't want to get really too much involved in that this week. But with that, we'll take our first call. If anybody else who wants to get into the queue, *6 and a 1. We used to do 3 hours. We used to shut down at midnight. We backed it off to 11. But if necessary, as time goes on, we'll go back to 3 hours, 9 to 12 Eastern time, and that'll give a little more time, especially for the people on the West Coast that kind of come in a little late. Okay, with that, take our first question. But when people come in, the best way to come in is on an app or browser, because then you can see our desktop. Also, when you come in on a name, give us your first name and your state. Just sign up with your first name and your state so we know where you're calling from. So we'll take our first caller here. It's 305 Van something. What's your first name and what is your state? You've got the mic. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hi. My name is Michael Van Scoik. I'm calling from Miami, Florida. I would like to say, first of all, after listening to you now for, over an hour and a half, I commend what you guys are doing. You're doing tremendous work. I'm intimately familiar with Dar. I've had several conversations on the phone with Dar Leaf. I've also interviewed and done Zoom meetings with Sheriff Mack. And if you don't mind, I'd like to make you guys privy, and for your audience as well. I'm the founder of thebigvirushoax.com and righteousarmy.org. So we've been putting forth our efforts. You guys are putting forth your efforts. There's a lot of people waking up across the country that are all, coming to the forefront and putting forth tremendous efforts. So I would like for you guys to be familiar with what we've done as well at the Big Virus Hoax. That's HOAX, thebigvirushoax.com, and righteousarmy.org. That's where we did the conversations with Sheriff Mack and Sheriff Dar Leaf. As I was listening to you speak, and by the way, earlier in the beginning of the show, you were wondering about the CSPOA. It's Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Okay. So I was wondering, I would imagine you guys are lockstep with what I'm was kind of make a comment, but I guess I'll pose it as a question, with the reality that, because you kind of addressed these issues, but I didn't hear you put it in a perspective that I think is very important. When we're talking about jurisdiction, I think it's imperative for the people, for your audience, and for you guys to share it more frequently, the reality that what that means, jurisdiction, is that our nation has literally been infiltrated and hijacked by communists with a global vision. And when we always say they, the enemy, Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9 tells us who the enemy is. And they literally have a globalist, worldwide communist agenda, corporate agenda. And that's the significant factor, is that the jurisdiction is that they are a corporate falsehood. And they are literally considering we the people to be dead fiction characters, not real living men and women with God-given unalienable rights. So the jurisdiction aspect comes down to our status as living men and women and rejecting their 14th Amendment status as a dead entity being where they have that authority and power over us. Because as I'm sure you know, the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled that if governments are going to act as corporations, they are subject to all of the same bylaws and regulations and rules and statutes as a corporation, and they have no lawful authority over a living man or woman. So if people do not understand that those courts that you're talking about for the last hour and a half that you were referencing are literally fraudulent courts that are not part of the authentic original court system, they're not part of common law, they're not part of the republic, they are literally a hijacked, infiltrated, compromised system that is completely part and parcel to that corporate jurisdiction. They're a fallacy. It's complete fraud. They are not. It's not like we got to take our courts back, because those are not our courts. We have to reestablish our courts, because you alluded to it earlier. They don't even acknowledge common law, the bar attorneys, as if it doesn't exist. That's what we live by, is God's law first and common law. So there's two jurisdictions going on, and the people need to be aware of that reality, that no, I'm not part of your corporate system. I'm a living man on the land with God-given unalienable rights, and I stand on my rights and my dignity. So I think it's really, would you concur that it's imperative, and to the extent that I would ask, do you concur that it needs to be made clear that the jurisdictional issue really comes down to that? It comes down to corporations And if you're not acting as a dead entity, you're not acting in commerce, you're acting as a living man. And, of course, a lot of knowledge needs to come into play. So you guys are providing great resources for people to learn so that they can no longer be ignorant and they can be aware of who they are so that they can stand on their own. That's what a sovereign is. They can stand for themselves. They don't need a representative. They're standing on their own, too. So you're doing that. We're doing that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I believe the quickest way to get rid of these corporations is going to be up to the people to stop feeding them, to stop buying their stuff, to not stop using their medicine, stop giving them permission. When we go into court, we preserve our sovereignty. We're there by special appearance, and that's all well and good. Nobody knows what that means. They're going to know soon. But they're not going to just leave town. It's going to be up to us to starve them out. And where we find them committing treason, to have them arrested, indicted by the grand juries that we pick in our counties, and indict them and prosecute them. And I think a lot of that's going to be military tribunal, at least in the beginning. But they're not going to just pack up and leave, because they like what they're doing, and they're not used to being held accountable to anything. This is a new lesson for them, and they're not going to take to it lightly, easily.
Yeah, let me now specifically to the question here. We understand completely and agree 100% with everything you said here. Our beginnings was really looking into the things that they call like the man on the land stuff and doing all kinds of different things, writing papers and filing it in a county as far as what our status is and approaching things in a certain way. But we did find that there's a lot of problems out there with a lot of people teaching these things, and they're getting a lot of people in trouble. And as we went forward to learn these things, we learned the court access, we learned common law, going all the way back into the history at its beginnings. We've learned how the codes, what the codes as far as the statutes and the regulations, that's for. That's for people who, that's to control the government agencies. That's the powers we gave Congress, the legislators, 18 powers, and we've laid all that information out, and they are to write the necessary statutes, codes, and regulations for government agencies and their agents, and also commercial activities. But as far as the people are concerned, we're under the common law, we're under the law of the land, which ultimately is the common law. Even the legislations that they write has to be under the common law. It's called American jurisprudence. And now they have destroyed all this, but we've come in such a, everything is still there, by the way. Our structure for everything we are as a people still exists. The problem is the people that are exercising the powers and the authorities over those structures. That's where the problem is. That's what we have to fix. That's what we have to change. And we have to fill them up with again, people who are going to be statesmen, not politicians. But yes, we do teach all this. We teach the difference between the two. A very, very comprehensive course that we give. It's on the paper.
I was going to ask about that course because can you say the name of that course? Because my son recently did the course How to Win in Court Without an Attorney. So when you made the comment earlier that yours is better than anything online, I'd love to know what that is. What's the name of it?
Yeah, well, you're talking about jurisdictionary. I took jurisdictionary course. That was the first course I took to come to an understanding of how court structure works, how due process works. One of the things I found in that course is that, and he makes this point about not getting into the Constitution. That's what they teach you. We've got statutes and codes and different things. We can refer to those things. Of course, we don't follow that strategy, but we did learn the process from that guy. I wrote a book called Court Access and the Common Law. Again, if you go to nationallibertyalliance.org, on the right-hand side, you'll see a little book. One of it is Government by Consent. You come down a little further on the right side, and you'll see Court Access and the Common Law. That's the book I wrote. Then we did a course. It's a 90-hour course. If you go to education on nationallibertyalliance.org, you go to our education tab on the top blue bar, just highlight that, and come down to, I think it's the third one down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And you click on Court Access and the Common Law, and that's how you enter the course. Now, this course will teach you everything you need to know due process. Due process is the hearing, the right of hearing in a court of justice. It starts with your paperwork, filing an action, not a complaint. They keep trying to change our papers over to complaints, and complaints, we're not coming in under complaints. That brings us under civil law, and we're not under civil law, we're under common law. And we make the point in our paperwork that the difference between the two, and we have a lot of, we're footnote on heavy on everything we do, whether it's papers we're writing on the course, whether it's books we've written, whether it's papers we've written, whether all of the educational things on our website. We have lots and lots of footnotes, so you can follow up on everything we say. We have proof text for everything on what we're teaching. But yes, we are far more advanced in our course as far as court access is concerned. Matter of fact, if you go to law school, my brother went to law school, but he never ended up practicing. He went to work somewhere else. But in any event, I was talking with him about the Constitution. He says they never talked about the Constitution. He said they may have talked about it once or twice.
Forgive me on that point, because it's an important point you just made. Wouldn't you concur that all filings should be in a federal court because they have original jurisdiction, and the lower courts don't acknowledge the Constitution? Therefore, everything should go through the federal courts?
Federal courts don't acknowledge the Constitution at all. We're in the federal courts. We've got over 100 cases in the federal court. And let me tell you, they're as bad as the state courts. They're more devious and more evil because they know the truth more than the state courts. The state judges seem to be ignorant, more ignorant than the federal judges. The federal judges are pretty savvy. They know what's going on. They understand all sides of this law, and they even understand common law. I remember in the very beginnings going into the courts, in the federal courts, and the judge was correcting some of my language concerning the common law. He understood. But the point, look, we go in with the fact that it's the fraud. That's what we go in. We rest on the common law. We come in on the fact that all this stuff is a fraud, and we lay our case out that way. It is unfortunate. Every time we go into court, we literally spend months fighting with the judge before we can even get to the case. And more often than not, they'll throw us out on Rule 12. And we've become pretty savvy and understanding in this whole process. We've also found ways to be able to put leverages onto the judges and put them into a place where they don't want to be, between a rock and a hard place, because we're pushing treason at this point. And through some of our papers, you'll read about that and see that, particularly the most latest papers that we've been written. But anyway, just to your question, we absolutely understand what you're talking about. We've come from a different perspective now, from the standpoint of standing on the law, which is the common law, and we put everything in its proper perspective in the courtroom right in the very beginning of our cases, and we bring up the fact that these things that they're doing is all about fraud. That's what it is.
Right, but they don't even care about that, though. Like you said, they don't care. So why would we even go into their courtrooms? They're fraudulent. They don't believe in the Constitution. Why should we even go in there?
Because the reason why we want to go in there, the whole purpose of all our court cases ultimately is to create a case. We have to have proof of subversion. It's exactly what it is. Because whatever they're doing in the federal court here in the Southern District of New York, or the Northern District of New York, or the Eastern or the Western, or what they're doing out in the different jurisdictions in other states, whatever federal judge we talk to, whatever case we have, they all do and say the same thing. They commit the same crime with the same words. Everything is there. That's conspiracy. And that's why we're in the courts.
And most of the time, they drug us in. We didn't go in there looking for them.
We don't have a lot of successes in the courts, and we didn't expect to get them. But we've built cases, and we've got cases that can be resurrected. I mean, I got myself 3 or 4 personal cases of my own, and we have hundreds of cases we've done on behalf of other people, habeas corpuses, all kinds of things, non-judicial foreclosures. Those are the major focuses we had. And so all those cases are proof. And here's the bottom line. We know that Trump has a plan. We know that devolution is in play. We know that it's going to come to a head this year. We know next year we're going to be moving towards America again and bringing things back. And the courts of justice will return, and we will win in the courts at that point in the federal level. Once we win in the federal level, we'll take that right down into the state, because any time a constitutional issue is in view, particularly denial of due process, which is what basically everything they do. They bring us into jurisdictions unknown, and they deny us our due process in our courts of justice. They've closed the doors of justice on us. And the big thing that really destroys the entire federal judiciary is the fact that they rest upon their rules. And Rule 2 has abrogated the common law. They didn't have the power. They didn't have the authority. The whole thing was a fraud, and they're guilty of treason. So this is what it's all about. We've built a case. We're ready to go. We've got the paperwork ready. We just got to wait for devolution to play out to a certain point before we can file. And then we will take back the entire nation, judicial-wise, as far as state courts, but we first have to take the federal courts. I'm awfully concerned about PSYOPs, psychological operations with all the Q stuff and the Trump stuff. I have some grave concerns in that regard. But throw Hail Mary pass. I hope it's not a PSYOP and it's all true. But there's too many questions that a lot of patriots are realizing now. There's some big problems with all that stuff. But I appreciate your time. I'm going to look into your stuff on the website. But please go ahead and take your next caller, so I don't take no more of the time. Okay, we'll take the next caller. Rick, what's your state you calling from? You got the mic? Go right ahead.
Yeah, you guys can hear me. Hold on, we got a lot of
feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback here.
Let's see if someone's mic is open. Rod, try putting your mic on mute. I'll put mine.
Hold on a second.
Rick, do you have two different devices going?
Can you guys still hear me?
That's better.
Yeah, we were muted. We couldn't talk to you. Yeah, whatever. Somebody turned off whatever it was. Okay, you're good.
If you guys can hear me,
yeah,
I'm Rick Martin with the Constitutional Law Group that started the Constitutional Law Group back in 1997. Actually, 96 is when we started.
Hold on a minute.
We started the Reopen America tour. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I can't tell at this point.
Okay, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Where I'm going with this conversation is I applaud you for all the work that you've done and where we're going with this. Okay? Yes, we do have a certain semblance of military backing on this. And what we need right now is we the people to start becoming educated. And I was one that educated Sheriff Mack and many other patriots out there. It's not about looking for contributions. What it's about is educating people on the right information. And the right information is key to salvaging our republic. And yes, sheriffs are key. Yes, we need to get our sheriffs on board and to have them educated. Where I'm going with this is, I've worked with Sheriff Darleaf. I've worked with Sheriff Mack. I've taught them a lot. But in actuality, there's still a lot to be learned. We, the people, have to go back and realize that this is one nation that was built on the foundation of a creator. And the creator has the true sovereignty. The sovereignty created us, and we have the sovereignty that created government. Government's only ability is to listen to we the people. Okay? And that goes to Article 5. You guys all know where I'm going with this. When it comes down to it, we need to schedule an interview, seriously, where we can I can bring out the points that need to be brought forth. And the points that need to be brought forth are, states cannot license rights, number one. Taxation, okay, we can go down that line all day long. But I have got so much documentation that'd make your head spin.
Rick, can you hear me?
And I'm not getting any feedback, so give me a second. Let me plug in. Hearing me.
Let me just mute him a second. Rick, can you hear me? Rick?
We're having technical issues here.
Rick, can you hear me?
I don't think he can.
All right,
he can't because he had two things going.
Can
and
you guys
he turned
hear
off
me?
the one that great.
We can hear you. You can't hear us.
Crickets.
All right, well, first of all, before we continue on with this call, what was the person?
Well, I'm having issues hearing you guys. I'm having issues hearing feedback.
You're going to have to reboot.
Here's what I'm going to propose if you guys are.
All right. He's not hearing us, and we can't have a conversation. Rick, if you can hear us, reboot, okay? Reboot, come back in. I'll pull you back up to the front of the line. But what was the name of the person we spoke to before, Rick? What was it? Does anybody remember? And hopefully they're still on the call.
He was from Florida, that's all I remember.
Okay. In any event, if you're still here, hopefully you are still here, send a note to Jan, Jan, at nationallibertyalliance.org. Give him your phone number, and maybe we should sit and talk because, National Liberty Alliance is all about getting other liberty groups and bringing them into alignment as long as we are compatible and have the same focus and understanding of common law and what the law of the land actually is, then we need lots of help on the national level. We're looking to try to partnership with Bonds for the Winds, where they would handle that information, and people who want to do things with the bonds. We do have a process ourselves that we do teach. We have We the People that are involved with us, with Robert Schultz. We have the Republic Review. We've got pages on the Republic Review on our website also, which is an interesting thing that he's doing there to get a review of all of our laws, particularly on the federal level, and to go through everything and get rid of everything that's unlawful, that's unconstitutional. But in any event, anybody that has an organization that would like to connect with us, let's get together and talk. Just send a note to Jan, Jan, at nationallibertyalliance.org. Give your name, your phone number, the name of your group, what it is, basically what you're doing, and then we'll have a meeting together with other people. And anybody also that has a podcast would like to interview us on their podcast. We're interested in doing interviews to get our message out and get people involved. Meanwhile, if that other guy is back yet, maybe someone can keep an eye out. Comes back, get him back.
John?
Yeah.
I dropped the phone number for the fellow from Florida in your Skype bin for you.
Great. Okay, thank you.
And I think the fellow's name was Van. And he did mention the 14th Amendment like there's something wrong with it, but that's one thing where we've changed our mind. There's nothing wrong with the 14th Amendment. It was hijacked just like our courts were. But if you look at the original debate on the 14th Amendment and the ratification of it, there is none of that nefariousness involved in it. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you listen to G.R. Mobley at Republic Review, he says it's a godsend, and he gives good reasons why, and I yield.
Yeah, and it's all a matter of interpretation, changing the meaning of words, and all that stuff, which that's the game they play. But we know the truth, and we'll hold to the truth, and we'll call it what it is. A fraud is a fraud. But with that, let's get back. We got Vincent. What state are you from, Vincent? You got the mic.
Greetings. Actually, I'm Chief Smiling Thunder from the League of Indian Nations, Chief Kamala, and I know Dr. Vincent's number also comes up. Our phones are linked. However, I just wanted to say that I'm very familiar with the work that the National Liberty Alliance has been doing over the years, and also I did assist and participate with Sheriff Darley from the time he was going in as sheriff, taking the office of sheriff, and in the interim, he and Sheriff Mack have been instrumental in conversing with me as I've had issues in going across the country, jurisdictional issues with the League of Indian Nations, going to get member nationals back from various states, some here in Michigan. I'm in Michigan right now, and then also Pennsylvania and Oklahoma and so forth like that. So I wanted to say thank you to him, even though I know he didn't make it onto the call. So, and I am also a member of CSPOA. I would like to, afterward, I'll send information to Jan. I wanted to find out what exactly, I got bits and pieces of something that's going on with him here in Michigan. And because he's here, we can definitely put some people together to go to court with him or, on his behalf or with him whenever. We just need to know more about it. So if you could just quickly elaborate on it, I'll yield.
Well, we don't have a lot of information on it at this point. I'll be talking with him, I'm sure, by the end of the week before we come together on Monday. I'll bring this issue up to him and see what he wants to do, what's going on, if he needs our assistance in any way. And we'll just see where it goes. But anything that does happen, once we find out, we will make an announcement and talk about it and share whatever information we have on our Monday night program. For those who don't know or may not know, we're here every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we haven't missed a Monday night. Well, we've missed a couple, basically for maybe Christmas or something like that. But basically, we've been here every night for over 13 or 14 years now, every Monday. So we're here every Monday, and we'll share what we have. We also send information out to our members once a week. And that kind of information would go into the newsletter and people would get it. So if people would like to get that newsletter, they just have to become a member and they're automatically put into the newsletter. Will go automatically out to them. So you got anything else? We're going to move to the next caller. We do have a lot of people in the call, but
no, that's fine for me. Thank you. I can.
We got something else. Hang on a minute. As far as Dar is concerned, first of all, he should be here next week on the show. He had an emergency. His son or his son-in-law is having a baby, and they went to the hospital. So last minute he canceled. The other thing is if you listen to that little blurb that I put out with Jaco and what's his name? Senior moment here. Juan O'Savage. Juan says it's going to take about 120 days. He got other people. He didn't want to steal their thunder. This has just scratched the surface. Dar is not ready to go to court yet. Now, believe me, he will be. But there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. You're going to hear a lot of stuff. But just so you get an idea on a timeline, he's saying that before people really understand what's going on, 30, 60, 90, 120, 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's our timeline, and it's going to get crazier and crazier as we go. But by the time we get to 120 days, we probably at that point we'll be in the courts or approaching the courts or whatever. But we'll have to wait. You'll have to stay tuned and see and keep contact with these guys. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, he did.
Thank you very much.
He did say that he can't talk about this right now, so we're not going to get into much detail with him on this one. He may give us just a brief couple of words on it, but he's not going to get details on that. Okay, listen, why don't you send your information to Jan, and if you want to connect with us, we'll talk. Okay?
All right, thank you. Ashe.
Thank you. Okay, we got our next caller, Lewis from Florida. You got the mic. Go right ahead.
Who, me?
Yep.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I'm having a little technological difficulties because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But no, I wanted to say thanks for everything too. I sent some documents in for I've got some classic due process case going right now in Michigan. That I've been studying your books, John, and your courses, and watching all your videos now for a couple months, and starting to try to educate, unignorize myself, and but we've got. I was told by the prosecuting attorney that the Secretary of State doesn't listen to anybody. They just do whatever they want, and then he said that to me, and then because. They took my driver's license away after issuing it to me, and then they altered the records at the Secretary of State's office, and it just totally. I moved to Florida in 2018. I got this driver's license issued to me in 2015. Now all of a sudden, I'm like 10 years into this thing thinking I'm freaking a legal citizen, and they turned me into a criminal, and I didn't even know it. So then a year or so ago, I had an attorney, a bar attorney, of course, you know, and they can't. I'm like, this got to be a due process case, man. There's no due process here, you know. They just arbitrarily stuck me on the National Do Not Drive Registry because I sold my house in Florida. I had a condo in Michigan. They put me back in Michigan. I went to get a license. Oh, that's no good here. This is 10 years later. Like, what? So I'm studying this hard because I gotta go after these people, and I'm not gonna let up, and I'm gonna form a committee of safety. You're gonna start getting to know me, and I just want to thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And anybody who would like to start a committee of safety, like I said, click on Start a Committee of Safety here, and just follow the breadcrumb trails. But you want to go out to our directory, and on our directory you can sign up. We've broken the nation up into 10 districts, and it's all done according to time zones also. And we do have district coordinators. But you would want to come up here, for instance. I'll take New York, for instance. Let's see, because that's my state.
I'm gonna specialize in Florida and Michigan because I'm in Florida and Michigan. And I just want to say, John, that I did email you some documents on this case, and I'm interested if you take a look at them. That'd be great.
All right. Well, it's difficult sometimes because people send me, sometimes inches thick papers. I get.
Oh, this is a short read.
Okay.
Short read.
All right, I'll take a look at it. But anyway, I'm showing the desktop right now. We have 719 members in New York State. We have 62 counties, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 committees of safety in process. So they're all at different states, of course. It could be just beginning organizing, or they could be coming along. We're trying to get enough people to help us so that we can actually make connections with these people and have more communications to assist them in their endeavor to organize their counties. But anybody who wants to start a committee of safety, if you go out and look in your state, see if someone started one or is starting one, and you can connect with them. Their first name, their county, and their phone number is there. So you can give them a call. But if your county doesn't have a committee of safety, you can sign up and take control of the committee of safety. I believe it's the page before. Register or edit your committee of safety. Here you click on that, and you just fill in the information that you're going to be asked. And then your name, what'll show up is your county, your first name, and your phone number. So anybody that lives in that county that's looking to see if the committee of safety has been started, they'll find you. Then you guys will connect. Also, we will give the first name and the phone numbers of everyone in your state, and you can by county, and you can contact people in your county or counties next door. And we do hope that counties connect to counties, and so on to get throughout the whole state. Because united we stand and divided we fall. All right, thanks a lot, Louis. I'm going to move on to the next person. We're going to try to keep things a little shorter because it's getting late. It's 11 o'clock, but we will stay here till we get through all the people that are in the list here. Send me the papers and we'll take a look at it. Okay?
They're there.
Just send it. You can email it to mail, M-A-I-L, at nationallibertyalliance.org. And that goes to all of our leadership. And I just make a note on there. This is Louis about my case or whatever, something like that.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next person is Jennifer. What state are you in, Jennifer? You got the mic. Jennifer, you got the mic.
Are you talking to me?
We're talking to you.
Oh, okay. I accidentally hit the question button and I didn't know how to type it in. So, well, I don't remember my question, but this is really good. And I do know Brent Winters, and I've been taking his courses. He's great. So this is my first time on this call. So,
yeah, right away. Brent Winters has a militia course going on. Anybody wants to get into the militia course? Just send your name and phone number to mail, M-A-I-L, at National Liberty Alliance, and tell us you want to get into the course, and we'll get your name over to Brent, and and they'll send you information.
Yeah, I do have one quick question. The difference between, you said something about complaints and something else. Complaints.
Action at law.
Yeah, complaint or an action at law. That's two different things. One of them is civil law, of course, and action at law is law according to the common law. So that's the main difference. So they have, they just run civil law. They've combined law and equity, and then they call it civil law, and they create whatever they want. Their rules become law, so they write their own law. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sick. It's pretty bad. But these are all chancery courts. A chancery court, if you go into Black's Law Dictionary or Brovier's Dictionary, which you can download a copy from us under education, then under law, you'll find these dictionaries. You can download them and you can check out the meanings of different words. And if you put the word complaint in there, it'll tell you that it is according to chancery. It's a chancery court. And so you have a chancery that decides the case. You don't have a jury. It's, again, an individual. It's a bureaucrat. And under common law, they don't have the right to judge us. Only the people, through the king's bench, can judge we the people. And if you look at action at law, then you will find the meaning of that is that which proceeds according to the common law. And the common law brings us back to natural law, which brings us back to the Bible. The king of our court is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And that's who we are as a people. Our founding fathers were Christians, most of them anyway. And they were pious Christians. I believe they were children of God. And they put this nation together in such a way that, again, we're under the law. And God said, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. So we need to return back to our roots and be blessed again.
Okay, I do have one quick question now that you've got me going. So is it the judges? Okay, so I understand jurisdiction. Now, if a judge in their jurisdiction is doing not following their own system, that judicial tenure complaint or whatever it is that even effective? I mean, do they just disregard it? Or?
No, it's not effective. They protect their oath. You don't get anywhere with that. The only way we do, as a matter of fact, I have a case going right now. I got two cases going right now. One's in the state court and one's in the federal court. And I'm dealing with two judges who are doing the same thing. They're playing a game with the rules, with the law, and what things are. The lies that the other side brings up as far as, and they don't even do this by affidavit. They just try to move the court through letters, trying to throw us out. And the best way to deal with these people is to go after their bonds, their oaths, and their financials, and that's what we're doing right now in both cases. And we've laid it out that if you throw us out of the court and deny us due process, that's a federal offense. And then we gave them a demand for credentials, which is the oaths, their bonds, and the financials. So that's how you deal with these people, and that's how you deal with these people on all these different boards, the school boards, the town boards, whatever board you got to deal with, any political board, you could deal with them the same way. If they don't respond within 10 days on a demand for their credentials, they forfeit their office. That's how you remove them. And we use the sheriff to do that. That's why it's important. One of the first things we teach people is how to make contact with their sheriff. Get the copy of the book, Government by Consent to your sheriff, and eventually get a meeting with them. But you want to get your committees of safety going. You want to get your sheriff being educated as you're developing your committee of safety, and then at some point you then get together with the sheriff and have a meeting. And at that point, since you've met with him at least once, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, to give him the book and let him know what you're doing in the county and you're concerned, and we're getting the people together to build committees of safety. At some point, we lay it out on how, matter of fact, it's in the book under Start a Committee of Safety, going over to handbooks. We have the handbook, Committee of Safety Organizing Handbook. In there we give detailed information, how to approach the sheriff, first order of business, first meeting, second meeting, how to bring things together, how to pull the sheriff on board. And we'll be talking about that also next week when Sheriff Dar comes on. We're going to get a lot of insight from him, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. We'll take our next caller. It looks like, is that Joanna or Joanne from Texas?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Darish. Thank you for taking my question. First of all, I'm calling from Texas. And last week I bought your book. I bought 2 copies of Government by Consent, and then I went up to my actually he's a constable now, but he's running for sheriff, and the election will be in November. But we currently have a Democrat in the sheriff's office, and so I'm throwing my support behind the Republican candidate, and so he'd be going from constable position to sheriff. So he was receptive. He took the book, and I told him, you can zero in on chapter 5. I don't know if that was the best chapter for him if he doesn't have time to read all of it, but he had no idea anything about it. But so thank you anyway for giving me that, for writing the book and giving me the direction to do that. I just started listening to you a few weeks ago, so I'm learning a lot, and I have lots of questions. But I also was talking to another friend of mine down here in the same county, and she started telling me about another organization that sounds very similar. And we were wondering, all of these organizations that feel the same, and you kind of answered this earlier, if we need to all band together and start combining, maybe we would have the percentage we need to take back our counties. The organization that she spoke of was called Tactical Civics, and I think she said David Zuniga is the one who organizes that. I don't know if that's just in Texas.
Yeah, we tried to make contact with those people, and we discovered that they don't connect with other organizations, so we don't have an opportunity to really come down to understand where we are and if we can work together as long as we're compatible and so on and so forth. I went out to the website, but in order to see anything, you got to become a member, and I don't like to join a lot of clubs until I really want to. Everything's an app these days, and I don't get into the apps either, unless I wanted it. But if you join everything that has information out there, before you know it, you got so many things going on, you don't know your head from a hole in the wall. But yeah, we tried to make connections. We don't. They don't deal with other people. So.
Okay. So your committees of safety, that's just within your organization, the people that just know about National Liberty Alliance?
We're the only one, to my knowledge, teaching with any depth of knowledge, committees of safety, how our founding fathers did it, we're doing it the same way they did it. How to take our nation back is how they built this nation and kept control of this nation, how they formed this nation, all done by committee of safety. So we want to emanate our founding fathers and do exactly what they did. That's the process. And the committees of safety morphed in, were the committeemen. But eventually the committeemen got taken over through the Bar Association, statutarizing the whole process and bringing it in a different direction, and then putting party bosses in control, and also limiting the amount of people that can join. For instance, in my county, I believe there's 249 election districts, so there's 249 committeemen on the Republican Party, 249 committeemen on the Democratic Party, and that's it. With us, with the committees of safety, as far as becoming a committeeman and joining the committee of safety, getting involved with subcommittees, depending on what your really involvement is. But when it comes to the political process, there's the political committee, which gets all the information. So when the voting comes up, they then bring that to the whole committee, and then we all participate in walking our papers in order to bring people that are statesmen and put them into the office. So we teach people all of that process. But we also teach people how to take back the court. So we're taking both power structures, the political and the judicial power structures, back. But the thing is that we can have 1,000 committeemen, we can have 10,000 committeemen in our county committee of safety. The more the merrier. Many hands make light work. So the more the merrier. What we want. Whereas they restrict it so that they can control it on the statutory side. They will die from attrition ultimately because, well, first of all, when I was a committeeman for a while, Gerard was a committeeman. There's quite a few of us were committeemen. We became committeemen in order to do something, only to find out that they were captured by the deep state, or whatever you want to call it, the New World Order. Ultimately, they were captured people, and there was no real deciding for anything or getting anybody. You always come up with either the criminal on the right or the criminal on the left, and that's all you get to vote. That's all these committeemen bring forward. A lot of us, when we start to realize that we can't take this back, that they got such a stronghold on this process of committeemen, and we can't do any good, then we left. You know, what else are we going to do? That's when eventually we found the Committee of Safety process, the real committeeman. That's not statutory, not limited to 249 people in my county. Again, we can have 1,000, we can have 5,000, doesn't matter, because it's a right of it's a right. It is an unalienable right to have government by consent, and you have government by consent by participating on your local level in the judicial and political processes without the politics. There is no politics. There is no reason to have any conversation about our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, or any of our amendments. There's no need for any of these statesmen to be discussing anything outside of the Constitution. So the people have to know the Constitution in order to enforce that. So that's why we need to teach people. People need to learn, and we need to take it back. But the committeemen in the counties, when these people discover the committees of safety, and they will discover them once they start growing, they'll start bailing out. A lot of people bail out anyway because eventually they discover that their vote doesn't mean anything, that they've been a captured audience. But anyway, when they bail out, they'll come over to us, and they'll bring their experience of structure and process that they've learned, and the more the merrier. So, but one other thing I'd like to say, just because your sheriff is a Democrat doesn't mean he's a bad guy. I mean, you know, I'm the first Republican in my family, and I didn't go to become a Democrat when I wanted to vote. I wanted to discover the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Nobody could explain that to me, and this is years ago too, but nobody could explain it to me. Eventually found out and realized what a Republican is and what a Republican is supposed to be. It's one who's focused in on the republic, a nation or a country of laws. And we definitely are not a democracy. So that's why I became a Republican. But my parents and my siblings ultimately were all pretty much conservative, and would be, well, my parents are gone now, but in any event, they would have been appalled by what's going on right now. I guess they were more like, well, they loved Kennedy, and Kennedy was a conservative. If you listen to what Kennedy had back in those days, and you listen to him today, you'd think he was a Republican.
True.
Because he brought back,
Yeah, they call it a classical liberal, right? Isn't that what they call it, classical liberal? Hey, John, also to note for Joanne, we've been offered money over the years, and by some very rich entities, one of the richest and maybe the richest in all the world, approached us some years back, and Gerard knows about that, I think, had a representative from the Vatican. But we never sold out. We've never sold out, and we've never given up our ability to work with anybody. Now, other organizations have done that. They have it in their charter. I'm not going to name any names, but we've discussed it before. But they can't actually work with anybody else. But that doesn't mean that the people at the ground level, at the street level, that doesn't mean in these other organizations, that doesn't mean they wouldn't work with you. And if these people want to work with you, then by all means, get them to work with you. Just because they're in a different organization whose charter might say they can't work with anyone else, well, they could jump ship. And I'm not suggesting that we poach other organizations' members, but we do have a country to save. So I just wanted to say that, just keep that kind of thing in mind. And, G.R. Mobley, he talks about the two parties, the Democratic, the DNC and the RNC, and he says there's two different kinds. There's the leadership level, and then there's the street level. And the street level people are you and me. We're not at the same level as these people who are running it. They're bought and paid for. We're actually trying to save our country. So we can work together. And a National Liberty Alliance, like John says, we are an alliance, and we'll work with anyone that will work with us. And I yield.
And is compatible with us. But we'll have differences because,
Amen.
We don't all agree 100% with each other.
Yeah, and you know what? Just as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. It is the disagreements between us that will get us to the truth. So, but yes, amen, John.
Well, amen to that too. And we survive by the widow's mite, so to speak. The $5 donations that people make every month. That's what we survive by. And of course, when the course gets sold or the books get sold, that goes into the kitty fund.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay, we're going to go to our next caller. Thank you. Appreciate it, Joanne.
Thank you.
So it's Joanne, right?
Yes, Joanne.
Joanne. Okay, next caller here is a wireless caller, 831 area code. What's your first name and your state?
My name would be Tarek, or what I'm known as is Tarek. And I'm in the constitutional territory, constitutional county of California. State-wise, it's known as California. How you all doing?
We're doing good. Do you have a question, a comment, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Who is the local community? What you guys kept naming that group? Community Safety Committee. Or who's the local grand jury?
Oh, well, what we've done is this. There is no local grand jury. Look, one of the things we found as we were organizing is people need to become educated. It's a wrongdoing to give people power and authority and to teach them power and authority without first teaching them an education in order to exercise that power and authority. We have to take an oath. Anybody that comes into as a grand jury administrator in order to develop a grand jury within their counties, and also the people who come in as jurists, they have to take an oath, and an oath is the creator of the universe. So they take an oath to come in with a sense of honor, justice, and mercy, and that's how they have to act. And if they break that, then they're breaking their oath, and we have a process to deal with someone to reel them back in or to relieve them from their duties.
Okay, but my question was,
I'm going to answer the question.
Who is it? Because I've been looking and I'm not finding the information I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that. Right now, we're in the process of training people. People have to be taking the courses and learning. We're not in the courts yet. Until we can take the courts back, we can't take back the jury process.
Well, you're not going to take the courts back. You already said that earlier in this podcast or in this show.
No,
it's not an objective of taking the course back. Heck, I was served for 4.5 years as sheriff in Austria, as the first publicly elected constitutional sheriff of Austria. And I can tell you right now, they're not going to let you take the courts back.
Girag, let me finish what I'm saying, and you'll understand the plan, okay? We cannot take the courts back right now. You're absolutely right. The courts have gone totally off course. I mean, there are no courts of justice. There's only courts of injustice. The law is whatever they say it is, and it changes from time to time. You go into one court, you get this. You go into the same court again, you get that. They control the whole thing. It's really corrupt. It's evil.
Yeah, it's all maritime amnesty, statutory equity.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying, please, okay? So the point I'm trying to make is we've been in the courts now for quite a few years. I think we started in the courts 2013 or 14, somewhere. Well, no, actually it was about 15 or 16 by the time we got into the courts. So it was probably about 2016. And so we started bringing cases in the courts in order to assist the people in numerous different things. And in that time, we knew we weren't going to win, but we did get a few wins here or there as time went on. But the bottom line is we developed a case for all of these individuals. Their homes that were taken, people who are spending time in jail, they're going to get restored. They're going to get restitution when the day comes that we can get courts of justice back. They've closed the courts, the doors to justice in the courts. The federal courts is the key to taking everything back. The federal courts are the most corrupt courts. They're more corrupt than the state courts. The state courts are mostly ignorant, but they're corrupt too. But the federal courts have the knowledge, and they understand everything, and they're corrupt, so they're evil, okay? And that's the problem. But the thing is when devolution plays out, if you understand what's going on with devolution, things are going to be taken back by years out. This year, it's going to happen before the next election or at the next election. And once we take,
I'm not dependent upon an election. I'm dependent upon the people.
Okay, I'm going to have to mute you while I'm talking, and then I'll unmute you. But the point that we're trying to say is this. Once we can get rid of all these people and come back into the courts, and we have a common law court structure that can be brought back in, that's when we're going to get justice. That's when we're going to start moving and taking control in the state courts to bring the people into control as far as orientating the juries. That's when it's going to happen. Until then, you're right, it's not going to happen. But now is the time to educate. Now is the time to prepare. We have quite a few people who've signed up. They don't seem to be very active. We're trying to make some calls to these people to see what's going on. But if you look on our website, we have 1,265 people that have signed up for grand jury administrators. We need about 15,000 altogether across the entire nation. Let me think if that's correct. 3, 6, 9. About 15,000. So we need about 15,000 people. And again, this is a full-time job. Now, as far as the juries are concerned, we organized the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. In order to do that, we had to visit every state, and we went to every county, and we brought forth the idea of going back into bringing the common law back into the courts and organizing common law juries and resurrecting them. And so we got the agreement of the people. Then we got people in all states. We visited all 50 states, including Hawaii and Alaska. And we got the people involved, and they created what was called the Unified State, whatever their state was, the Unified State Common Law Grand Jury. And then all of the common law grand juries came together, and we developed the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. Now, here on a national level, we are educated. We are able to go into the courts. We do understand the system. We understand the problem. We understand the fraud. We understand the common law. We understand the civil law. We understand the difference between equity and law. And so we have the ability to be able to deal with the problems. And every once in a while, we call a grand jury together. Now, a grand jury, in order to call a grand jury together, we send out a message to our members. And we have right now 11,267 members. You can see it on the right-hand side of the website. And we'll send a message out to them. And anybody who wants to come in and sit on the jury, grand jury, to come on in. We give them a date and a time. We give them a page for them to look at the case and what we're going to be looking at and taking votes on. And then we look for an indictment. And we get an indictment. We then file it with the court. We opened up a court case up in Albany, New York, for the sole purpose of having a place in order to put our indictments. We also were sending it to the Sessions when he was in, and then Barr when he was in order to file it with, because these are federal indictments. And so we filed it with them. And we filed it within the courts. We filed it in our court case. So we filed it in 3 places plus online. Now, of course, they've ignored all this and stuff. We expected that, but we are building a case. And when the day comes, when the people take back control, then everything is resurrected. And we have all the proof. We can prove the conspiracy. Because no matter what the judge is doing out in California in the federal courts or what they're doing in New York or any other state, they're all doing the same thing, using the same tactics, the same words, and everything is the same. So that proves a conspiracy. And we will go after all these people for restitution. We'll go after all these people to pull their bonds. and anything else we can do in order to get justice for the people. Now, as far as operating juries on its own within the counties or within the states, we're not assisting people to do that at this point. We're assisting people to educate themselves to take these positions, and then once we move into the courts, they can fill those positions. And their purpose, their job, ultimately, is not to be the grand jury or the trial jury or anything like that. They are administrators for the jury. They're there as the people. They have no political connection. They do get a paycheck because it's a job, 40 hours a week, but they are there for the sole purpose of calling forth the people. And it's only the sheriff and the coroner that can call forth a grand jury. The people can ask to see the grand jury, and depending on the situation, if they're filing a complaint, a criminal complaint, then they have to bring that to the sheriff, and the sheriff will consider it and investigate it and decide whether he's going to bring it to the grand jury or not. But generally speaking, the only ones that can lawfully call a grand jury is the sheriff or the coroner. Prosecutors cannot call a grand jury. If a prosecutor wants to call a grand jury, they got to call the sheriff. And the sheriff needs to look into the case to see if it's worthy to bring to the grand jury. That's the process that the administrators will do to make sure, number one, that happens. Number two, to make sure that they are fully informed juries. Number three, to make sure that the grand juries have the ability to do whatever investigation they want. If they want to go into some state office or some political office somewhere, for some bureaucrat, we would make the call to make sure they get the access to go into that into that office, make sure they have access to their computers and any files and any information they want to look into, because we are the people, we are the bosses. And that would be the job of the administrators of the jury. They orientate the jury, and they will empower the grand jury for investigative powers, or they will become the investigative body for the grand jury. But we will keep prosecutors away from the grand jury because they only poison them. Prosecutors will try to make deals with people. They'll let them know, hey, we're charging you with this, that, and the other thing. You're facing 20 years, buddy. I'll tell you what, why don't you plead guilty? We'll give you 3. That's extortion. That's what that is. That's unlawful. And also, they don't have the power or the authority to do that. The only one that could make a deal with the people is the grand jury itself. That's it. And of course, the person that they violated, whoever was the injured party, they'd have to agree to this whole thing. If not, they get indicted, they get brought into the court, and the people decide in the jury. So that's how the whole thing is set up. It's all in its construction, but nobody is going to sit as a grand jurist or a trial jurist that we would appoint. We're only pulling together the administrators for that. It's a wrongdoing for a grand jury to come into power and maintain power. And I know of a grand jury down in Florida that's been in power about 10 years. I know of a couple of grand juries in California. It's been together for many, many more than 10 years. Same foreman. The foreman down in the one in Florida is a lawyer, as a matter of fact, a bar attorney. That's an abuse. That's a wrongdoing. It's too much power in the hands of any person. Juries come together, a grand jury will come together for a period of time, and then they're replaced by another group of people. Trial juries are called together, of course. They'll hear a trial, and that's it. And they're called again maybe a couple of times in their lifetimes. But the bottom line, it's a wrongdoing for people to create a jury, a grand jury particularly, and sit on it, and especially act in ignorance. We can't have people acting in ignorance. And it would be a wrongdoing for us to try to empower people or to teach people how to get into the process, how to do these things without educating them. So we're in the process of educating. Let me unmute you now. And
I want to add one more twist, John.
Go right ahead. Then I'll unmute
you. Getting rid of these evil demon worshiping people that are running our courts is not the hard part. They're going to go down in a day. The hard part is once we get rid of them, there's a vacuum. And we need people that are educated to come in. You can't have people go. If you get the wrong people in there, we'll be back in the same situation we are right now in less than 10 years, if even that long. So that's where our problem is. And don't forget, this is a fight against good and evil, and we're not going to win it on our own. When this gets won, everybody's going to know that God stuck his finger in, because we can't do it, because that's how much they have already usurped. There's going to be people jumping out of windows when everything gets revealed, as to all the lies and the stuff that they've told us, all the things that we thought were true that weren't true. Some people won't be able to take the truth. It's going to be very earth-shattering. God's going to open up and show every man his soul. He's going to know himself even as other people knew him, and that's a tough thing, and that's coming. That's coming very soon. But the big thing is what are we going to do after that? We have to. There's a vacuum, and there's look, if you think that we're going to go in there on our own, and not, by the way, we don't run the committees of safety. We teach them and that, but we don't run them. They don't report to us. Every committee of safety does in their community what they need to do. We couldn't run them if we wanted to. So somebody said something about us running the committees of safety. That's not what we do. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. I rest.
Okay, let me give Mike back. Give you a minute or two, but we have other people, and we're way overboard. But again, we're going to stay on until we get everybody in the queue. We got 3 more people, but go ahead. You can finish up, Tarek.
Free to speak?
Yep, you got the mic. Go right ahead.
All right. First of all, I do have 2 masters and 1 bachelor's in law. Went to Thomas M. Cooley. One of my professors is Andrew P. Netapoliano, at Mises University down in Auburn, Alabama. I served as a sheriff for 4.5 years. I am currently a standing member of the CSPOA. I don't see a whole lot of constitutionality in a lot of things that a lot of members do. And I constantly go out, try to explain to policy enforcement officers the constitutionality of certain things with great, they describe me as difficult and argumentative. It seems anybody who discusses law.
Look, we do agree with you that there are some problems, and we would like to try to help address those problems. But we don't know if we can, if they'll listen to us either. We'll be talking to Sheriff Dar about this, because Sheriff Dar is really on top of things, and he is really an honest individual that really has learned the common law, has learned what his job is all about, and is executing it on a daily basis. So he'll give us some insight, and maybe we can help, because we do know that there are faulty problems there, and we know what.
Well, my primary question was, who can I contact here in the constitutional county of Monterey, California, or California, if you wish to call it a state, which is a corporate legal fiction?
You can go up to our directory. Now, you're in California. Let me open up California, okay? I don't think, you're on a phone unless you've got an app. I don't think you can see this, but we're under nationallibertyalliance.org. You come under...
Yes, I know where your website is, and I got the app, but I'm having problems with the application, or else I wouldn't be on a phone.
Okay. On the blue bar, you'll see a directory. And if you highlight the directory or click on the directory, you'll come to a page where you'll see the states listed. And if you click on California, you'll find out, for instance, there are 1,213 members in California. There's 58 counties. All of those counties have been constituted through the process that we've executed. And you have Alameda, or Alameda, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Alameda.
It looks like an M-A, but okay, Alameda.
No, Alameda, yeah.
Alameda is underneath it, but above it.
Yeah, the L is silent. But if you see it in Latin or Spanish, there's an L.
Okay, so anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Some of these are duplicated. These people need to get together. But maybe they want all these people's names on there to assist. But in any event, you got about 10 committees of safety that are in motion and movement. What county you said you're in?
Monterey County.
Monterey County. Okay, I don't see anybody signed up for Monterey County. So if you want to sign up...
Well, I'm going to be the first one then.
There you go.
By the way, I have read a few of your books, and left them in the freaking prison where I was when I was falsely accused of a bunch of crap.
All right. Well, anyway, if you come under Blue Bar and you highlight directory or click on directory, the first page you come to before you click the state, you click on register or edit the Committee of Safety here, and then you just sign up for it, and automatically your first name, your county, and your phone number will show up on that list on California for that county, and then people will contact you. You can then get a hold of, Jan will probably get a hold of you, or someone will get a hold of you and give you a list of people within your county and give you phone numbers and information, and we can also give you phone numbers for the people in the state. We do not give out emails. We don't communicate through emails. Our business is person to person, so we talk on the phone, and so we don't want people annoying people with email and blasting them with this, that, or the other thing. So.
Well, then you have a documented. Okay, right? Okay. I mean, I guess what I wanted to say was, then you don't have a he said, she said situation, or he said, or she said. It's not hearsay. By documenting it, you got proof.
Yeah.
You see my point?
I understand, but we got to move on to the next caller, and maybe next week.
Thank you for taking me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, next week it's going to be Sheriff Dar, so we're really going to be focusing on that. But we're here every week, and we like to talk.
And you're John Durham?
I'm John Durham. Yeah.
I've read a few of your books.
I've written about 12 of them or so.
Yeah, I know. There's a list of them, and you only put it in the Common Law Community Handbook, which is a shame. You should probably post that list in every freaking book you write.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I appreciate that. So, all right, we're going to take our next caller because it's really late, and we do have 3 more people we want to get to them. So thanks for the call, and we'll talk again soon. And you got the info to be able to sign up and contact people.
Yeah, I'll go look at the website and play with it some more. I'm just having a hard time with it, and just wanted to find out who I can connect with this over here.
All right. Okay.
Got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. We're going to take our next caller. Thanks, Derek. Okay.
You take care, John.
Bye-bye. Our next caller is a wireless caller, 361 area code. Give us your first name and your state. You got the mic. Wireless caller is 7760 is the phone number. 7760, wireless caller. Give us your first name and your state. You got the mic. Last call, 7760. Is that a 60 or is that an 8? Looks like a 60 to me.
I gotta put my glasses on. My eyes are getting blurry this time.
Yeah, you got it. 60.
Yeah, 60. 7760. I guess we put. I don't hear any snoring. We must have put them asleep.
All right, we'll take our next call. Anthony, good to see you from West Virginia. How you doing, Anthony? You got the mic.
Hello, John. How are you?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Doing all right. Doing okay. Just checking in this evening. Nice, great Monday call. That soliloquy that you did the first hour, there was portions of that. I could see making copies of that and just handing it out to people with, CDs, the way we used to, just personal things. Just get people involved. We gotta start meeting the people where they are.
Well, we do need a lot of help on the national level here. We have, national leaders, but we don't have enough. We need people to help us, people with ideas. We can use people who can help snip up some of our programs and create Q&As with them, and or even snip out areas in order to share, like you're saying. Tonight's program and next week's program is going to be uploaded on YouTube and Rumble. And it'll also be on our website. I'm not sure where we're going to put it. Probably under. Well, I'm not sure. I'll announce next week where we'll put this and where we'll put some next week's interview with Dar, Sheriff Dar, and we're looking to get the word out. Anybody out there that can get us an interview with someone on a podcast or a radio station or anybody else, we'll talk to anyone. We need to get the message out. And we need help on a national level. Anybody wants to volunteer and get involved on a national level, just send a message to Jan at nationallibertyalliance.org. Let them know that your first name at least and your phone number, and let them know you're interested in helping us on a national level. If you have a specific thing that you're good at, you can let us know. Some people are good with maybe dealing with videos and audios, and some people are good with we got so many things to do. We need people to make phone calls. We need people, district leaders. We broke things up into 10 districts. We need to communicate with the people down on the grassroots level to assist them in any way that we can, and let them know all the tools we have, and try to get them to the Monday night meetings for further and higher education, and so on and so forth. So,
have you ever thought? I've received the Excel files for District 7 and West Virginia.
Okay.
Have you ever thought of converting that to a database, a DBase?
We have a database.
You do have a database as well. I'm used to working with a database. Would it be possible I can get the copy of the database?
I don't think we give that out now. No. But
okay.
We have a database with tremendous amount of information on it. We don't share it with anyone.
Okay. Yeah, right. You wouldn't want to hand that one out.
Yeah, when people come in and they sign up as a member, they go into the when they go and take a course, that is recorded on the database. But we can track people as they go through the courses. We can see when they're finished. Some people will ask for a certificate of completion and different things, which we do give out if people request it. We can go back and see that they took the course. We can see when they started, when they finished, and then we can give a certificate.
Right.
We'll have that control is important for us, especially when it comes down with the people that are running for office. We want to make sure that they come in and take the courses if we're going to support them. But we're going to suggest that very strongly with the people on the grassroots level. Make sure these people know the law. They know the common law. They understand the Constitution. They understand what the powers and authorities are. They need to come onto the website, take the course. We can see that they finished, and they need to come to us to get a certificate that we can give to them, and then they can go talk to the people on the grassroots level to say, hey, I'm running for office, support me. And they got a certificate that they know the Constitution, and they're going to take their oath. So,
well, that's good. You mentioned about that group that wants you to give money before you join and know what they're even doing inside their website.
Well, they wanted us to join. I go to a website.
I can't do that. Did you listen to the talk that man made in order to entice you to join? Did you listen to him?
No, I don't.
There was a video that cleared you or something, and then you were able to join.
Yeah, no,
I watched that video.
I don't connect to those things. Look, if I go to a website and I have to become a member to see what's going on, I want to join. I'm not going in to become a member.
Exactly.
To look at things.
That was the last thing I looked at. I mean, I didn't like a few of the words that he said. His choices of words don't jive. The vocabulary doesn't really jive for me to a real patriot effort. I think that. I could be wrong. I'm not making any rash claims, but my gut tells me not to deal with them.
Yeah, well, look, when we started this, what we're doing here, everything is open. We used to have 2 or 3 pages that were private. You had to be a member. We even opened them. People can see everything and anything on our website before they join. They can come and learn a lot of things because we have a lot of stuff that you don't have to sign up for the course for.
A lot of stuff.
So you can come up here and learn. We want people to learn. But people hopefully will become members and hopefully become premium members, giving us $5 a month or more to support what we're doing to keep the lights on, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the only thing that is that you have to be a member, a member in order to get into is our courses, because our courses are database controlled. And number one, also our court access in the common law court, how the courts operate as far as due process and how to learn all that. You have to be a premium member to get into that. But you have to be a member to get into most of our courses, which we don't even charge at. I mean, you don't have to be a premium member to take our courses. A couple of them you do, and of course the law course is a different story altogether. That's a full-fledged course.
John, that's why you have so many people thanking you for the wealth of information and the structure of the information, the organization, how it's organized in its different places and all. So accurate. Yep. So anyway, that's it for me. I just wanted to touch base with you on those couple of issues there, and looking forward to the call next week.
All right, I appreciate that. And I'm in the middle. I'm making a map, so it'll be a map where people can go look at to see what's on the website and where to find it. And so I'm working on that right now. And over the course of the following weeks, coming up after DAR is on, whenever we get an evening where we don't have many people in the queue, I might take some time, maybe a half hour, 20 minutes, and go through the website in different areas. Maybe I'll spend 20 minutes on education, what we have to offer in education. Another week I'll maybe spend 20 minutes on starting a committee of safety. Another week on other things as far as today's issues and our members page and the directory. Maybe another week we'll do 20 minutes on all of the things we have on the right-hand side of our website. And then all those will be posted somewhere in 20-minute clips.
Right.
That'll assist us in snipping that. And then people can find things easy, get introduced to it, and also be able to look at a map to find what they need to find, because it is a pretty in-depth and comprehensive website. It's pretty large and comprehensive. It's in-depth. So.
Absolutely. And I do like the last few weeks I've been able to have your window up on my monitor, so that's been really great.
Yeah, it's good to have the ability to see the desktop. It's very helpful.
Yeah, right. That's what to see the desktop. Hey, thank you, John. We'll talk to you next time. God bless you guys.
You too. All right,
we'll take our
last caller. Last caller, it looks like Ronald. I believe we spoke some time a while back. Ronald, you got the mic. What's your story?
Yes, I'm Ronald from Michigan, and I would like to know, how can you get a hold of the judge's bond number? Do that come through risk management of your county?
No, well, we have a process where you file a paper and demand it. It's a notice and demand, or it could be a writ quo, not a writ quo wanto. Maybe it is a writ quo wanto. There's a couple of ways to do it. We teach it in a course, but I think you can learn it. Let me see if we have it up here. If you come to Education Starts Here, come down to Law, and then click on Court Forms and Process. We may have information on bonds. So let me do a Control Find Bond.
Okay, would that be
right here? Demand for oath and bond. One's a quo wanto. You could do it from a quo wanto, or you could do it as a notice and demand. If you're going to do it as a quo wanto, it depends on what's going on. If the sheriff's working with you, you're going to want to do it as a quo wanto, because it's going to become a court paper if necessary. If you're in the courts, you could do it as a court quo wanto, or a writ in demanding oath and bonds, demand for credentials. It's two ways you could do it. But also then there is the basic demand for oath and bonds, which you can send to anyone that is a bureaucrat, whether it's a judge or a clerk or whatever.
Okay, well, one of those forms, would that be a AC 125 and 126 form?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. No, these are not forms. These are papers that I've written.
Okay.
I don't know about any forms that do any. I've seen forms that ask for different things, but there's too statutory. I don't get involved in that. We're common law. We the people are free and independent. We can make it up as we go. That's how free we are. We are the people who made the law. We ordained and we established the Constitution. We're the lawmakers. We're the sovereign of the court. Until the jury takes a seat, We are the sovereign of the court that we open. We control that court. We control the jurisdiction that we want to come in on, which is a court of record, and so on. People need to understand the powers and the authority of the people. We decide what we're going to do. We could make it up as we go, as long as it's just and right. That is the key. Anything that is just and is common sense. You see, common law is really common sense. It's written in the hearts of men, and people know right from wrong. God said He wrote His law in our hearts. We know thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, and so on. We don't have to learn that. That's just innate. God put it in us. But we also know common law is really a construction of maxims. Law is constructive. When you go in and you make a case in a court of law, if you're in an equity court, it's going to be you're going to be putting together statutes, codes, regulations, and exercise all of those things for whatever purpose you're in the court for. And the other side will do its battle against you. But when you go but all that is still under American jurisprudence, so it all has to be common sense anyway. That's why you can find a law and make it null and void because it is in contradiction to the common law. Now, common law in itself in a court of law is a construction of maxims. Maxims are statements that can't be denied. The idea of innocent until proven guilty, that's a maxim. That comes from common law. In order for there to be a crime, there's got to be an injured party. That's a maxim. A thing similar is not necessarily the same thing. That's a maxim. Water does not go uphill, unless you got a pump, of course. That's a maxim. Maxims are common sense. There are millions of maxims. There are thousands that are written. We've got books on maxims. You'll find them on our website. You can download those books, and they go all the way back in history. But maxims are created as you go through a court case. You bring it up, and the jury agrees with you. Yeah, that's common sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Whatever the case may be, that's what common law is. It's very simple. It's common sense.
Okay, well, will I be able to find those forums on the nationallibertyalliance.org?
Yeah, you can find them at nationallibertyalliance.org. Highlight education starts here. Just highlight it. Come down to law, highlight law, and then you come to underneath that, you'll see court forms and process. And we've got a lot of information there, which is probably what you're looking for. If you want everything and you really want to get deep into all things, you can go to Education Starts Here, click on Court Access in the Common Law, and you can join our law course. It's a 90-hour course. It's videotaped, and if you have any questions during that process, you can come here on a Monday night and ask your questions.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for that information, and I yield.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We got Tarek back into the queue. We'll take him as the last caller.
I want to say one thing before we go on.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick question, John.
Yeah, hold on, Tarek. Gerard's going to say something, and then I'll give you the mic.
I'll try to be quick. Yeah, there was somebody on there that said, we don't believe in Q and all that stuff, and there's misinformation. And be that as it may, we are fighting this war, and there is a lot of misinformation. But I do believe that the good has the upper hand. But the point is that when Nikki Klein goes for people's bonds and oaths, usually what she ends up finding is that these people have no bonds and oaths, and they have no insurance. They're operating illegally. They're working for a foreign corporation. That's treason. And one of the ones she did, she said she reported it to TIGMA. Now, TIGMA, I don't know if I'm saying it right. When Trump was in office, he took the Federal Reserve and put it under the Treasury. There is no more Federal Reserve. That was a private organization, and he got rid of them, which is a good thing. They're just a figurehead now. They're under the Treasury Department. So when the end of her process, when she goes through this, is she reports them to the military. And I don't know what part of the military. I'm still working on finding out how she did that. But she claimed
a conversation with her You know, you
Yeah, I sent an application in, and I left the message on the phone. I'm waiting for somebody to get back to me.
I got some ideas about that problem on what we can do, and maybe I can help her write papers.
Well, she claims that there was a bunch of unmarked white cars with military guys in it, with officers that picked these guys up and took them away, and nobody's seen them. It sounds like a Gitmo thing, and I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that. That's how we're going to get through this thing, because we the people are not going to be able to do it with this system. We have to fix the system. We got to tear it down, and we have to have people to go back in it. And we're going to need help from the military, and we're going to need help from God Himself, because we're not going to do it alone. We can
get all the help we want. If we don't have God, we have nothing.
Exactly. And when this does happen, people are going to realize that it came from the finger of God and that no man did it, because it's going to be something that big that turns the tables, I believe, anyway. So I'm following Nikki Klein very closely, as close as I can, but just based on some of the things that she's let out. She was a little afraid to talk, too, because, you know, this cabal's not going to go down easy. And as they identified the movers and shakers, they're going to move against them. And that's something that we need to deal with. That's something that our prayers should be dealing with, because that's important. You got to pray for these people. Don't leave them out there alone with no, put no blessings on them. They should be in your prayers every night. And that's what it's going to take. But anyway, I want to say, yeah, and we know there's lots of misinformation and Q and all that. Listen, Lincoln had Q. That's how far back Q goes. And we could get on that subject some different time, but it was a valid thing when the country was under, devolution. You're gonna see a Trump get killed. That's just it's a body double. There's going to be all kinds of stuff goes on. You won't be able to keep your head on straight. It's spinning around. They have technology that you won't believe, and it's going to all be revealed. All that hidden stuff is going to be center stage, and it's going to look unreal, And some people won't think.
The last caller here.
Yep, go ahead.
Really late, and there are 2 points I do want to make. I want to make them very, very short. Number one, about Q, people can believe it, they don't believe it, I can say. But the bottom line is this, and our law is built upon this, and the truth is self-evident. The Bible teaches us the truth is self-evident. All you have to do is sit long enough and listen, okay? And you'll find contradictions or you'll find consistency. And if the consistency is constantly right and constantly there, you're finding truth. So truth is self-evident. If you want to know whether it's true or not, you really got to dig deep and see what's going on, and then you can decide for yourself what you think. The other thing I just want to make an announcement in is we do have a Bible study every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find information on that under Education Starts Here and click on our Bible studies. And right now our live study is on the Gospel of Matthew. The Gospel according to Matthew, it's live right now. I think it's part 2 or 3. I don't remember whether it's 2 or 3 that we'll be picking up on this Wednesday. But in any event, we're going to be going through the whole book. But we have a lot of other studies that can be looked into if people are interested. But with that, we're going to finish off, take our last caller. Tarek, you're back on queue here. You got the mic. Right ahead.
I know you're a busy man, John, and I know a lot of people reach out to you and want to have a conversation with you. I'm just one of those people. So is there a possibility that me and you can have a conversation?
Send an email to Jan, Jan at nationallibertyalliance.org. Give them your first name and your phone number. Tell them what you want as far as having a conversation, maybe working together, doing things, helping each other, whatever the case may be. We have other people who have been calling in that's going to do that, so maybe we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 people, and we'll bring in the national leadership, and we'll talk to see what we could do together. Anybody wants to volunteer to help on a national level, we need lots of help at all kinds of levels, education-wise, paper writing-wise, all kinds of stuff. Picking up as district leaders, state leaders, helping to form and bring back this republic. Okay, is that it, Derek? Hopefully that's it.
Well, I have one last question.
Yeah.
What is the most important part of the Constitution for you?
What the most important part? Well, the whole thing, of course, is important, but the preamble is the key to me. That's the directives. There are 6.
All right. So, okay, let me rephrase my question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most important part of the preamble?
The blessings, the security for the blessings of liberty. Number 6. There are 6 directives, and if whatever government does, they have to be conforming to at least one of those 6 directives. And if they're not, then they're not doing the right thing. Okay.
So, my question for me, and for the support of the Declaration with the firm reliance on the protections of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Would you not say that without that, nothing else matters?
Well, yeah, I mean, the key to the Declaration of Independence is that we've placed that's the foundation of our law, the Declaration of Independence. It's a covenant with God. And of course, the most important part of that, which is all of our law, ultimately, that we've come to place ourselves under the laws of nature and of nature's God. And we've asked God for the blessings of his liberty. And that's why in the preamble, one of the 6 directives, and in my opinion, the most important directive, is for government to protect the blessings of liberty. For the blessings of liberty gives us our rights. Our Bill of Rights is what they need to protect that state. And of course, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And the United States started off that way, and we've been hijacked by Leviathan, the New World Order, and it's time to take it back. And I take it to the next step. I've come to realize some certain things, and if you read Isaiah 14 talks about Leviathan being judged. So nations and the New World Order, which ultimately the entity in itself is Leviathan. It's the kingdom of Satan. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in the high places. And in this world, that's going to be judged, and we're about to see that. That's coming up now in the next year or so. Could be months away. Don't know when, but it's coming. But with that, we're going to end the program. Appreciate it. And
have a good night, John. I hope to talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll be back next Monday with Sheriff Dar. Anybody has any questions for Sheriff Dar, you can send them to questions, that's plural, questions, at nationallibertyalliance.org. And, we can take some more questions, and we'll ask Dar those questions. And we'll just take it from there. And we'll be back every Monday. And again, we have a Bible study this coming Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.